What was causing my hair loss and help stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. The Gators are on the practice field for fall camp. What does Billy Napier look for in his players during training camp?
How about your integrity, your role on the team, what type of teammate you are, your discipline, your effort, your toughness, both physically but mentally, emotionally. Do you bring confidence to the team? Do you spark belief amongst the team because of how hard you work, the attitude and approach that you take? We need to expose and eliminate any issues that we have, any chink in the armor that we have as we build our team.
The Gators will have an open practice on Saturday, and the Swamp Gates open at 2 p.m. MLB trade deadline today at 6 o'clock. The Braves have acquired left-hander reliever Brad Hand from Colorado. It's 90 degrees at 3:02. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hot day and it's a long way back to my home. Turn the radio on, I'm hearing my friend Lizzie pretend that the voice counts, but nothing amounts to anything until I hear it from you.
Frank, Hayes, Lauren, and Gibby. The Frangie Show starts now on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hey, welcome in. Glad you're along for the ride on a Tuesday installment of the program on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Our Tuesdays are always brought to you by the Nimnick family of dealerships. That means Nimnick Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue. And it means Nimnick Buick GMC, located on Phillips Highway. Nobody does a better job than my friends from the Nimnick family of dealerships. Frangie and Carline, Lauren Brooks, R.J. Saunders with you on this good, hot, steamy pad day. They were in pads today, Carline.
That's right. And it was hot.
It was hot.
They earned their money today. There was, I will say they handled it better than they did a year ago. The first day in pads was, it was fiasco might be too strong, but it was basically a race to the cool zone.
Yep.
At Episcopal. A few guys were, it seemed like, affected, but nothing. Nothing out of the ordinary, so it speaks to the conditioning because it was tough today. Yesterday it was very overcast. Today was blistering sun for 2 hours in full pads. Some good stuff. From an execution standpoint, I thought a mentally taxing, physically taxing day for the players.
If I was them, I would have much preferred the pads to go on yesterday for the first time in that weather versus today. Because you did see the heat affect some people, but that's no surprise. I think the only person that I was maybe a little surprised about was Anton Harrison. It seemed to affect him. And Hayes, I heard you say on Jaguars today that he had a little bit of a shoulder too.
Yeah.
So maybe
I think it was more that than
okay.
the heat. But to see, look, Calvin Ridley might be in the best shape of anybody on this team, and it bothered him. It was difficult. Now, thankfully, it seemed like Calvin was able to collect himself, cool down, and then was able to rejoin his team towards the end. And seemed fine, walking off the field. So, I don't think anything of dire consequence comes out of any of this. But it was. But I will say, once again, you look up and there's, the fans are going wild over some touchdown catch that's just been made. Zay Jones was great today, and it's another affirmation that this offense is either one or two things are happening. Either the Jaguar defense isn't going to be very good again, which very well may be the case, but this Jaguar offense, I don't think I've ever seen in the first 6 practices the offense be as dominant over the defense as I've seen in this one. Because normally it's the total opposite. It takes the offense time to find a groove. They found their groove from the first second of the first day and have not dropped it.
And for that, I completely agree with that. I want to talk about the defense a little bit today, and maybe some concerns. I mean, trying to be realistic. I want to talk a little bit about the defense today, and are there some concerns about that? And I'll get to that coming up. But I think that's an issue. I mean, I say it's an issue. I shouldn't say it's too early to praise or concern about anybody. But I think it's worth talking about. So is the defense a concern? So
Dewey's certainly getting a lot of reps with Cisco hanging out on the sidelines.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to talk about some personnel stuff too, as well. More Big 12, FSU, Pac-12, all that continuing to move along today. Today was supposed to be a very big day. My new favorite follow, Swaim, whatever he is, the Swaim guy, Jeff Swaim, tight end Jeff Swaim, has more stuff. We'll get to that. Have you seen some of the baseball deadline deals?
I just saw the big one.
Justin Verlander back to the Astros. How about that?
It's interesting because it was reported that he was talking to the Mets, and if they weren't planning on competing and going all in for next season, then he wanted no part of that team.
Let me out of here.
So obviously what the Mets said to their fan base and to Justin Verlander is, we're not going all in next season. And so, he's off to Houston back again.
I love the fact that these these American League teams, particularly American League West teams, are all doing it. They're all saying, okay, you got this, I'll do this. You got that, I'll do this. So there's a lot to talk about. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to start today with, Lauren Brooks out of St. Joe's Middle.
I know where you're going.
I fell asleep early last night. I was tired last night. No Pirates game. I was probably out like at 9:45, which for me is really early. I laid down. Suzanne goes, "You're going to sleep, aren't you?" I'm out like a light. So 9:50, I'm out. Out, dead person out. And I didn't move until I got up at about 4:40. Got up to pee, 'cause that's what old people do. And I got up at
That's what hydrated people do.
That's what I got. I got up at 4:40, and so I said, "Well, you know what? Let me turn on the TV." I went out to the family room. I didn't want to bother Suzanne, so I turned on our big TV because I knew the soccer was at 3. And I pretty much knew soccer was 2 hours, but I wasn't completely sure. I'm still a bit of a newbie, Carline. And so I watched the end.
45-minute halves and then extra time.
Okay, so I watched the end of it, and as I'm watching the end of it, we tie.
Mm-hmm.
And so the women's team didn't play very well in this first thing, right? I mean, even the
this is the least
game,
dominant that the U.S. women's national team has been in a decade.
Since the Vietnam game, they won 3-0, but she missed a penalty kick, and they didn't see
Alex Morgan, yeah.
And then they had a tie, right? And then they tied a team. This team wasn't very good yesterday, right? And they probably got out Portugal. They got outplayed. Portugal hit the post or would have
Portugal not dominated, but had more time of possession than the United States did. Yes.
Okay. Did you watch it live? Did you record it?
I recorded it, and then I woke up at 5:20 and was like, "Oh my gosh, what happened? I can't sleep anymore." And then I watched it.
So did you know the end? Did you know the end when you watched it?
I did.
Okay, you didn't watch it. Okay, so anyway, Portugal apparently clearly outplayed them. Should have beat them. Hit the post on one of the on a shot. I mean, literally hit the post.
Yes.
Do they call it the post in soccer? They call it the post in hockey.
Yes, it's the post and then the crossbar if you hit the top, but she hit the post. So well done.
You're on a roll.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going to sit back, relax.
No, but seriously now. So I turned it, and I don't know much about it, but you can tell that the U.S. tied, which means they moved on because they finished in the top 2 in the pool.
Yes.
But they're really disappointed, right? So I'm being serious about it. I'm not just making a joke about this. I'm watching it.
That is all accurate.
So then they go to the panel, just like the game day panel, and it's Rob Stone, it's Alexi Lalas, it's some woman who I don't know who she is, and it's Carly Lloyd who used to play on the team. Hayes, are you aware of the story I'm about to tell you? Do you know?
Yeah, Carly Lloyd just destroyed them.
Hayes, I mean, crushed them like I've never heard. Like you would hear people say in the stands, or listen, there's some things we say in a press box that we wouldn't say on air, or that you wouldn't write. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, talking about their lack of commitment, they're showboating too much, they don't really care. I mean, Lauren, did you hear it? I'm listening to it live, and I'm thinking it's 4:45. It's about 4:50 in the morning. Now I'm thinking, is this what happens when you watch a soccer? Because I've never watched a soccer studio show. By the way, that's the first one in my career. Just so you know, my first ever soccer studio show.
You picked a good one.
And she's just ripping them left and right. I mean,
yes, that does happen with the men.
To that extreme?
With the men, I don't know if you remember, but Taylor Twellman a few years ago, maybe about 8 years ago now, had this epic rant on the U.S. men's national team. And it went, viral and everything. And everybody was like, yes, he's absolutely right. Until the United States puts more resources into the men's national team, the United States will never be good. Carly Lloyd was passionate, and she was speaking her mind about the lack of passion that this team has. And look, she has been a part of the U.S. women's national team for many, many years, multiple World Cups. So if anybody can speak to that, I think it's her.
Was she right?
I will say.
Hey, two questions.
In watching all three games, yes.
Was she right to say it, or was she right, period?
I think both. I think she was right to say it, and I think she has seen this younger group of people, this younger group of women. I think some of them are, and this is across probably many sports, are more interested in how many followers they have and endorsements that they have than the actual team.
That's
game.
what she said.
Yeah.
They're more interested in their social media
Yeah.
and talking about how good they are than really winning. And I thought, Hayes, I've watched every studio show. The NFL's got about 10 of them. We've watched the ones in baseball, both on ESPN and MLB. We always watch Game Day and all the ones. College football's got about 10 of them. The NBA's got 2 competing ones. I've never heard that. But Barkley's probably the closest to it. I would say inside the NBA with Barkley and Shaq, that's probably the closest to it. But they never go over the line. I've never heard them go over the line. It's always, hey, he didn't play very well. He's got to do better. Coach so-and-so's got to come up with a better rotation. But he knows that, and he'll get there, and you still got to – it wasn't that, buddy. It was what you said, Lauren. They're more worried about their endorsements. They're worried about telling people what great stars they are. They're more worried about showboating and dancing and clowning around. And they're not committed to the American team, and they're not committed. And I can't begin to tell you how disappointed I am and how disrespectful and bad. I couldn't believe it. And I'm watching it at 5 a.m. So it's obviously turned into. And then I thought, well, maybe it's just me. But then I talked to you at practice. Apparently, it turned into a big story.
Right, and the head coach clapped back and said, basically, her comments are insane. That she's questioning their work ethic.
Insane.
Yeah, calling Carly's comments insane. So, I mean. I think she has a platform, and she's earned that platform. She didn't just come out of nowhere and start saying this.
So you agree with her?
I absolutely. Yeah, I think that they've had really poor performances. Now, granted, the yellow card that Rose Lavelle got today, I totally disagreed with that. She was on the ground when the other player ran into her, and then they called that. That was ridiculous. But either way, in the end, this team overall, yeah, they've missed massive opportunities, and they don't seem to be improving. The way that they played this time around, the possession has been atrocious.
Yeah. Do you agree with what she's implying, though, that they're a bunch of showboaters that don't care? Because that's what she said. She's a bunch of showboaters who care more about stuff that doesn't matter, and they're not very committed to their craft. And that's what you could. It's one thing, Hayes, to say you played badly. It's another to say you're lazy and you're narcissistic and you don't give a damn. Those are two conversations. You can play badly, but you're trying. You know what I mean? You're trying the right way. Do you agree with her that they're in the wrong place and that they don't care and that they're a bunch of showboats and a bunch of hot dogs and they're embarrassing the country? You agree with all that?
I think most of them are trying, but there are some of them. Yes, I think they are more concerned with their appearance. And look, I think in the end they can change this. This is just the first stage. They can. This doesn't have to be the end of the story. Are they embarrassing the country? No. Most people were not up at 3 a.m. this morning
maybe
watching.
She didn't say that. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but you got the implication that it was an embarrassment that it's been this bad.
Yeah, and I think for Carly Lloyd too, she looks at people like Megan Rapinoe, who was on the team with her last year.
She doesn't like her at all.
No, she doesn't. And so you wonder, that's where you wonder if you could peel back the curtain. Did they not like each other when they were teammates? And is this just, now her time to be able to talk about it?
I rarely start a show with soccer, but but I'm telling you, it was jaw dropping for me. I'm not kidding. It was jaw dropping for me to hear that. So anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But let's take a break. Let's start with the Jaguars. I want to talk a little bit about today's practice, what we saw in the field today. I want you to hear from Luke Fortner. What place is he in a good place? I would think he is.
He's in a great place.
Yeah, he's not a problem. He's certainly in a good place. The offense is in a good place. And I got a thought or two about Luke. You're going to hear from him as soon as we come back from our break. But I got a thought or two about his presence here, his purpose here. I got a lot of thoughts about Luke, and I'm glad you caught up with him. That's how we'll start the program. Do want to talk a little bit about the defense and where they are. So a lot of Jags talk to start it. We'll talk about this college realignment, that and a whole lot more. Glad you're with us. On a Tuesday, brought to you by Nimnick, this is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
This is the playmaker and 3-time Super Bowl champion, Michael Irvin, and you are listening to 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Superstation.
There are 16 spots in the playoffs and just one track left. Well, not just any track.
We're basically going to have to win.
Daytona. A last chance to keep playoff hopes alive.
1 point to the good.
And for fans to experience an event unlike any other. NASCAR weekend at Daytona International Speedway, August 25th and 26th. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners, Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy, higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Active and pain-free. That's the ticket. Dr. George Barry here, and I know that's the goal of every patient I see. They want the best possible care so they can go back to enjoying life. That could be pick up basketball, golf, tennis, running, or just working out. It all requires you to be as healthy as you can be. If joint pain is taking its toll on your active lifestyle, come see me at Barry Orthopedics. We have locations all over Jacksonville and can diagnose and treat even the most severe joint pain. A homegrown Jacksonville practice. Find out more at BarryOrthopedics.com.
If your hair is thinning and you're looking for an easy solution that will restore your hair, check out IHRS PRP Platelet-Rich Plasma. PRP, using your own platelets and cells to restore your hair where it's thinning. Combined with their FDA-approved laser hair therapy and pharmaceutical-grade products, all three will deliver one better result. Call IHRS now for a free evaluation and to find out if their PRP 45-minute treatment will work for you. Now there is a solution for any man or woman with any degree of hair loss. And it's all in one place. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS has been restoring hair for over 30 years. The staff at IHRS knows what it's like to lose their hair. And that's why they're ready to help you grow your hair back.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
A judge has a gavel. I've got a hammer. I'm Hayes Carlion. It's Hammer Time with Hayes. Weekdays on The Frangie Show on 1010XL. Brought to you by Golden Hammer Roofing and Gutters, the golden standard in roofing.
Do you have a plumbing problem that's making you feel like a sitting duck? Call Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic. Our team of expert plumbers will have your pipes flowing smoothly in no time. DuckDuckRooter.com.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm Agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Summer Nights, presented by One-to-One Financial, is an evening affair benefiting Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. Saturday, August 26th. Enjoy an evening at the beautiful Glass Factory as you sip premium cocktails. Dance the night away with live swing music from Bold City Classics. Taste delicious dishes from local restaurants and win exciting auction packages. For details and tickets, go to tinyurl.com/2023 Summer Nights.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Look, warmer weather now means mosquito, flea, and tick season is here. These pests are out for blood, but you don't have to let them win. Protect your home and family with Kingfish Pest Control. As a Kingfish customer myself, I know their products are safe for kids and pets. Plus, with a 100% satisfaction guarantee, you can relax knowing your yard is pest-free. Call today, mention the Jags to receive 10% off your initial service. That's Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Life a little expensive right now? If you need cash, Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jack's Beach is ready to buy. Gold, silver coins, and flatware, guitars and guns. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn wants to buy them. See Chuck and get extra cash only at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys Locksmith Service.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Welcome back to the program with Hayes Carline, Lauren Brooks, and R.J. Saunders. I'm Frank Frangie. How you doing there, R.J.? You doing all right?
Yeah, man. How are you guys?
How's day two? On a scale of 10, how's day two been for you so far?
10.
Okay, 10.
1,000.
10,000?
Million. Billion.
All right, good to hear. Let me tell you what happens with centers. If you play a center early on, either A, you missed on him, and he plays for a year or two, and then you sign the veteran guy or draft a guy or whatever, draft the next guy, or he plays there for about 80 years. You know that? I mean, center's the one position in the NFL that when you find your guy, you don't trade him. You play him early, and he gets acquainted to your young quarterback or whoever. And I mean, the league's full of the Dermontti Dawsons and the Jeff Saturdays of the aren't they? The Alex
Absolutely.
Macks.
This franchise.
Yeah, Brad Meester.
Well, and this franchise is that. And your guy locks in there, and he immediately becomes a leader, and he literally plays there for 15 years. I mean, I don't mean 7 or 8 years. I mean double digits. That's how the center world works, which is why it's so important to get smart guy, tough guy, good leader guy, no problems off the field guy, and centers tend to be those guys. And that's why I'll give Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson in company credit. Hayes, I think they were pretty sure they had that guy the minute they drafted him last year. I mean, they plugged him in. There wasn't a competition with Shatley or anybody else. They drafted him. I think he got off the plane from Lexington, Kentucky, and was the starter, and nobody debated it. Lauren, the point you made a lot was true. They wanted Shatley next to him at left guard for a while in camp last year because Tyler's so smart and could help him learn line calls and whatnot. But I think barring an injury, that guy's going to be in that spot for a long time.
He is, and he's gotten a lot bigger. It was good to see Luke today up close for the first time in a while because I don't know that I talked to him in OTAs. I couldn't remember. So to see him up close today, you can see the physical strides that he made this offseason because they were very clear with him. They're like, look, we love you as a player, and you're cerebral and fantastic, but you've got to get stronger. And I think he took that to heart, and he's done that. And now I think he's going to have an outstanding second season. And I do think, if his health is good, I absolutely think he's going to be a starter here for a very long time. And again, have that crucial relationship with Trevor Lawrence. If a quarterback can play with a center that he can depend upon, that's a reliable partner in dissecting what the defense is doing, I mean, it's so invaluable. And I'm really excited to see what the Trevor Lawrence-Luke Fortner partnership can be over hopefully the next 8 to 10 years.
Earlier today, as always, every day, Hayes Carline one-on-one, this one with the Jaguar center, Luke Fortner.
All right, we are pleased to be joined with Jaguar center Luke Fortner here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Man, it's great to see you. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Getting out here in the new facility and this beautiful weather, so can't ask for much more.
Absolutely. First day in pads, and it was awfully hot. What was sort of the mental toughness you guys had to display today to make it through this one?
Yeah, luckily with Jacksonville, you can kind of prepare for those hot days. You know what's coming. So it was just started yesterday and preparing last night and make sure you're hydrated. So it was good to get out here and see who can deal with the heat.
Luke, what was your offseason like? You got to go to London and make a pick. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was great to grow the game. Obviously we have incredible fans here in Jacksonville, but to be, seeing international fans and seeing them wear Jacksonville jerseys is, it's really cool. Getting Duvals in London it's a different experience.
So how long were you over there for?
Just 3 days. Just flew over and made the pick and came on back. Yep.
Did you get to see any of the sites while you were over there?
Yeah, I had a day to go sightsee and then another day doing a camp and then made the pick that night. So it was go, but got to enjoy it and really glad for the experience.
Who was it? Ventrell? Was Ventrell your pick?
Yeah, Ventrell Miller. I was lucky. I knew Ventrell. I played against him in Florida for a couple of years. So being able to know him and know how to pronounce the name right off the bat was exciting stuff.
Yeah, you've got bragging rights over Ventrell.
Yeah, towards the end there. In the beginning, not so much, but towards the end for sure.
As you get out here, year two for you, how much more seamless is it for you coming into training camp with that year under your belt?
Yeah, it's great. You get to focus on your technique and learning new things. And last year, it was coming in and go and learn the offense and trying to make sure you're going the right way. This year I get to have the luxury of working on different techniques and not having to worry about the basics right off the bat.
What are some of the techniques that you're really honing in on?
Yeah, just getting better in the run game. And, I felt like I did a good job of being in the right place last year, but just being a more explosive player. And obviously you have guys like Brandon Sheriff, Tyler Shatley, super strong guys who move people off the ball. So just trying to emulate them a little more.
What were you able to do from a conditioning standpoint to get stronger this offseason? What kind of strides did you make?
Yeah, I made a ton of strides. I went back and worked at Kentucky and loved those guys there and those strength guys. And then obviously here in the summer, it was just nice knowing, what it takes to play in this heat, and play against some of these really good players.
Did you see that kind of translate over today in the one-on-ones and the physical periods of practice today?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, with the experiences, knowing when you mess up exactly what happened and knowing, okay, I made that mistake because of X, Y, or Z. It's a luxury that you get after you've had, a year under your belt.
That center-quarterback relationship is so important. What's it like with Trevor? There was a lot of newness last year because he had to learn everything that Doug wanted. You obviously had to learn the league and in addition to all that. What's it like for you guys, that relationship in year two?
It's awesome. I mean, watching his confidence skyrocket and just understanding how good of a player he actually is so nice. And that I feel like I benefit from that because I kind of just absorbed that. Like, hey, Trev's got us. Trev's going to make sure we're in the right spot and help him out when I can. But knowing that he knows exactly what's going on is awesome.
ETN is such a great back. You guys add Tank Bigsby. What have you seen out of Tank so far?
Yeah, Tank's he's a hard worker. He's got great energy. He's always smiling, always in the huddle. Getting everybody's touching everybody and making sure everyone knows that he's coming to work. So love the confidence, love the energy, and he looks like he's ready to go.
And another addition, the biggest maybe, Calvin Ridley. 5 outstanding practices. What have you seen out of Calvin and what he can add to the offense?
Yeah, Calvin's been great. I mean, he could tell he's a pro. He comes in and, I think the first question he asked was about the run game, which, I appreciate that out of him, whether it's, for real or not. But I appreciate him coming in and asking those questions. And, he's obviously about the team and winning. And he's going to be a big part of that. But making sure that the whole team benefits is, forefront of his mind, it seems like.
Doug said that Brandon Sheriff brings such a calmness to the room and that kind of presence and how important that is. What was it like for you? How helpful was Brandon for you during that rookie season?
Yeah, I think it was priceless. I'm incredibly fortunate, looking back on it, to have ended up in the position I ended up here in Jacksonville with the leaders in that room and Coach Rauscher and Coach Peterson. They just, they bring so much experience and so much leadership, and being able to learn from Brandon and Shatley and all those guys was, again, priceless.
And now you're no longer the kid. Anton is here. And what sort of some advice you can give him? Because obviously he's a player that from day one, like you, is going to be expected to be in there at right tackle starting.
Yeah, I think number one is just absorb. Just watch the guys in front of you. Watch Cam, watch Walker. They've done it before, and they're such great leaders themselves. And I think if he just absorbs that information and keeps his head down and works hard, he's going to be great.
Luke Fortner, thanks so much for your time, especially on such a hot day. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I appreciate Luke because it was hot out today, and then have to sit there and do a 5-minute interview was asking a lot. So I appreciate his time. And, yeah, I mean, we talked about this a lot last year. He was the Iron Man of the offense, logged every snap, the only one to do so, 1,123 snaps. A player is intelligent as Luke Fortner to be able to digest those snaps in the offseason, to not have to worry about the draft process, to be able to go back to Kentucky and work solely on strength and getting stronger at this level. I think you are going to see a big step up in Luke Fortner's play this year.
It's interesting. He and Sheriff, I guess, are the only two that there's no competition at their spot. Sheriff knows without a shadow of a doubt on the offensive line. Sheriff knows without a shadow of a doubt he's the starting right guard. Luke Fortner knows without a shadow of a doubt he's a starting center.
Yeah, and they're important roles. And we think Anton Harrison's the right tackle and Walker
But
the left.
I think there's a little battle there.
At least a little.
They're at least making
where
it
are they
seem
gonna
like
fit?
Yeah.
You know,
I agree with you. The point you made is right. There's no conversation. Anton Harrison's probably the right tackle, but there's still a conversation. What if he's not what they think he'll be? Right, I agree with you. I agree. Those two are set, and I do. I think we're gonna, I think when the Frangie Show comes on in 8 years, I think we'll be talking about 10-year veteran Luke Fortner as the center. Don't you think?
I think so. I mean, that's where it's headed. Now again, health is a big part of this, and his contract will be a part of this, because my guess is he's going to play to a level where on the open market he would be a top 5 paid center, if not the top. And so, again, that's way down the line. We're 3 years from that conversation, maybe even 4 if they elected to tag him. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a very good chance that Trevor Lawrence is going to have Luke Fortner as his center until he's in his 30s.
And I think you've been saying that for a year.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful partnership. I mean, I really think they, from a personality standpoint, again, from a cerebral standpoint, because Trevor's weakness is his football IQ, and it will get better, but he just never really had to diagnose anything at Clemson, and he wasn't taught really how to do it well his first year here, so he's made strides. But if he's going to become that top 3 elite guy in this league, he's going to have to be able to see what the defense is doing and dissect it pre-snap. Well, he has a center that can already do that. So that is really going to help Trevor Lawrence in the area in which he needs the most help in.
I think it was funny was when we had Trevor on last year, talking about young guys and being out there with rookies. I'm out there with a rookie center. He goes, but I think he's 2 years older than me. Remember that? That was pretty funny. Let's take a break. I want to stay on the Jags. I want to talk defense a little bit. Thoughts about the Jaguars' defense is next, so stay with us.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
First of all, congratulations on the show.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
How do you like being in a real studio?
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
Nimnick Chevrolet is Northeast Florida's Silverado truck headquarters. Frank Frangie here. With new shipments arriving daily, Nimnick Chevrolet has the best selection of Silverado trucks on the ground in town. Nimnick Chevrolet is conveniently located on the corner of Park and Cassett Avenue or online at nimnickchevy.com. Nimnick Chevrolet is family-owned and operated. No one cares more about their customers before and after the sale. That's Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. Chevy, find new roads.
When you step into a courtroom, you're stepping into a fight. Someone wins, someone loses. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we've got the experience you want in your corner if you or a loved one suffer a personal injury or a wrongful death. We're here to fight for you. So if you get hit, hit back with Hastings Injury Law, offices Jacksonville. Find us on the web at 904hitback.com or call our 24-hour helpline, 904-HITBACK.
They say that health is wealth, but if you're struggling with obesity, your health could be paying too high a price. The good news is you can take charge with weight loss surgery at Baptist Health. Our personalized program is a center of excellence with a full team to support you every step of the way. Is it time to reclaim your health? To see if you qualify, call 904-202-SLIM or visit BaptistBariatrics.com.
Don't ignore plumbing leaks. They can lead to mold and mildew or structural damage and drain your wallet. So when you have a leak and can't wait a week, call Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
Bold City football is back. Get the latest on your favorite players with 1010XL's training camp coverage. Brought to you by Roland Reich Plumbing and Kingfish Pest Control.
Let's get the work done.
Nobody covers camp like 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
When it comes to selling your home, there can be problems, in which case I can give you some promises. Well, Chad and Sandy will. But ultimately, you get the proof. And gang, here's the proof. ChadandSandy.com. That's Chad, A-N-D, Sandy.com. You can also call them at 414-6200. Maybe you think a problem is that you got a growing family or you're working from home. You need more space. You think that because of the way things stand right now, it won't be easy for you. Well, with Chad and Sandy, the agents I recommend, it will be. The U.S. Home Price Index is on the rise. Interest rates are stabilizing. The market's turning more seller-friendly. So if you've been waiting, it might be the best time right now. Chad and Sandy, the only real estate experts that we're sending you to, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price at deadline, or they will buy it. So there's your promise. And here's some proof. Damien in Oakleaf, I needed to sell my townhouse and save money for a new, bigger home. I called Chad and Sandy, and what they say is true. Sold my townhome in 3 days above asking price. Go to ChadandSandy.com and get this service for yourself.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Exciting news from Woody's Barbecue. Backed by overwhelming demand, Woody's presents their all-you-can-eat chicken special every Sunday with all the trimmings, just $12.49.
At Woody's Barbecue, it's what we do. Let's eat.
Ackerman Urology is now servicing the Beaches community. If you have elevated PSA, prostate, bladder, or kidney issues, plan to see the experts at Ackerman Urology right away at the new location on Atlantic and Hodges Boulevard.
Are you an electrician looking for better pay and benefits? Miller Electric Company has the industry-leading compensation package. Electricians are eligible for a signing bonus up to $1,000. Now, they're partnering with the Jaguars on their new performance facility, the Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric has opportunities for you to work on some of the most exciting projects right here in Jacksonville. Whether you're experienced or not, visit MillerCareers.com, an equal opportunity employer. That's MillerCareers.com.
This is Dr. Michael Iorio, internal medicine physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars linebacker Josh Allen met the media after practice this morning and was asked about his expectations this season for Trayvon Walker.
You know, my expectations for Trayvon is to dominate. It's not up to me if how I expect him to be. It's what he expects from himself. And the conversations that we do have is he expects him to be Trayvon Walker. And so whatever he tells me, that's my expectation for him, and I'm going to hold him to that just like he does with me. So I expect him to dominate and to really show up and show out from beginning to the end.
Jaguars linebacker Josh Allen this morning, courtesy of Jaguars.com. Jags back on the practice field tomorrow morning at 8:50. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Josie's on a vacation far away. Come around and talk it over. So many things that I wanna say.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
I don't wanna lose your love tonight.
Was this a one-hit wonder?
I think so.
How is that possible? How
I
can you
know.
make a song this good and not follow up?
It's amazing because it is a great song.
The Outfield.
Great song. Great song.
Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline, RJ Saunders, I am Lauren Brush with you on this Nimnick Tuesday. Frank, to this point, other than me saying Trevor's had an off day, we've been nothing but glowing about the 2023 Jacksonville Jaguars during training camp. But the defense has you a little concerned.
Yeah, well, I just wonder, look, here's the reality of this football team. The reality of this football team is that everybody's buzzing about the offense and everybody's hopeful about the defense. Is that a safe assessment?
Absolutely.
I think we're buzzing about the offense and hopeful about the defense. And listen, I tend to be Homer guy, and I'm glasses half full guy, and I've always been that. But the reality of it is that we don't know about the defense. Tyson Campbell's a really good corner. The other two corners, Darius Williams and Trey Herndon, are good good football players, and I hope they play okay, but they're not going to be elite players. The two pass rushers were both taken in the top 10. Trayvon Walker, first pick overall. Josh Allen was, 7th or 8th, I think? Seventh. Two hard-working, good guys. They've become close. They're going to bust their butt to be as good as they can. But they would tell you they haven't done it yet. And yeah, the offense has been, Hayes, to your point you made earlier, the offense has been really good at practice, better than the defense. Now, look, the world changes all the time when pads get on and when you're playing somebody else and when the games count. But I'd be disingenuous if I didn't say I found myself watching and watching and watching. We've been to every practice. We watched almost every play. That the offense is more dominant than to your point earlier, than I would expect it to be this early on in practice. It's looked too easy to me, and that's from someone that's gone to about every practice they've had for about as long as they've had them.
Yeah, I mean, a basic tenet of football is that the defense is always going to be ahead of the offense early on, whether it's spring practice, training camp, because there's so much more of a precision to what you have to do offensively. That hasn't happened at all. I mean, at all. Now, again, the offense is incredibly talented, and I do think it's going to present problems for pretty much every team on the schedule. But I was sort of reserving some hope that the defense would have a little bit more punch back on the first day in pads, and it's the first day. But I need to see more. I mean, I need to see more out of the pass rush. You know, I think it's time. It's time for those guys to start hitting the gas. This is a administration, a coaching staff that has put a lot of faith. I think you could argue blindly on some players, and it's time for them to start delivering. And I mean, I think Josh Allen has played pretty well. We're 6 practices in. I really haven't seen much out of Trayvon Walker. I thought Walker Little really owned him and Allen today in the one-on-ones. So that's a great sign for Walker Little. But at some point, you need to see that acceleration. And again, it is super early. They've been in pads one day. But I was already impatient going into training camp. So now that we're 6 workouts in and I've seen nothing to sway me into believing what they believe, yeah, I mean, if it were me, I would be making a deal with Yannick Ngakoue this afternoon. I have seen enough. Now, again, I was already on the fence of get a veteran edge player or trade for Daniil Hunter, which is now unavailable. So now I'm back to Yannick Ngakoue. And that's what I think they need to do. I think they are going to be making a massive blunder if they stay with what they currently have with the edge rushers. I don't think there's enough there. Smoot's not going to be back until probably week 7. And even once you have Smoot, I would like to see another player like Ngakoue. I think he'd be fantastic for them. And from a football standpoint, now, I mean, again, there's a personality there that you've got to manage, and I understand that. But we're getting a little deep into this. We're deep enough into this for me to feel like, are they going to be able to convince me that their way, what they want to do, is the correct way?
Yeah, we've been saying, Frank, since January that the Jaguars' pass rush had to be improved over the offseason. We saw that Arden Key went to the Titans, and other than that, there has been nothing to be addressed other than drafting Yasir Abdullah. If they believe that Kayvon Chason is the X factor in all of this, then that's why they're confident, and maybe they're not thinking about signing Ngakoue. But for the rest of us from the outside looking in, I don't think Kayvon Chason has done enough to believe that he plus those two is going to equal a bunch of sacks.
Yeah, and I'm not to the point now. I'm not to the point that watching 5 practices, one with pads, I've made any determination about the team either way. Any opinion you had, it's fun to watch. Calvin Ridley looks fantastic, and Trevor Lawrence to look really, really sharp. But I expected that well before practice started. It's fair to say that I'm concerned a little bit about the defense, but I felt that way before practice started. So none of my opinions are really based on practice. It just kind of reminded me, watching practice, that I'm still not completely sure where we're going to be defensively. And again, the defense has to show it. People aren't out there buzzing about the defense. They're not there yet. They're not there buzzing about the defense. It might get there, but the defense. So I think that'll be the question. Listen, I said this today. The big picture, the only big picture storyline that people are going to talk about with this team, there's one very clear one, and that is, how will they do with everybody expecting them to be good? That's the story. They have not been the team that is expected to be good by everyone. I can tell you there's a reason that the NFL has upsets galore. There's a reason why an 0-10 Lions team beat a 9-1 somebody a couple years. I don't remember who it was. Remember a couple years ago?
The Jets beat the Rams in the Trevor
right.
Lawrence draft year.
That's right. The Jets beat the Rams. There's a reason why that happens. And let me tell you why that happens. Because they're still human beings. They're still out there battling, and you're just not as up to play the 0-10 team as you are the 8-2 team. And when you're not as up to play them, you don't play as well, and they have a better chance of beating you. That's not just a facade. That's not just coach speak. When you're not quite as amped up and emotional and fired up and ready to go, there's more chance you won't win the game. And that's what happens. And yet when you play that really good team or that team with expectations, you're more amped up and you tend to play better. Well, the Jags are going to play more teams in that mindset than they have in a long time. This is the first time in a long time, I guess in 18 midseason when they had just missed the Super Bowl one year and then were 3-1 the next. They got that. But you're going to now get teams when you're playing the Jaguars and you're playing Trevor Lawrence and you're playing Doug Peterson, when you come in here or when they go to your place, you're going to have a little more pep in your step. That's just reality. You have more pep in your step when you're playing a team with expectations. And Hayes, that's the hope. Can this team be ready to play teams that will have a little more juice than they've had when they played them in the past? Because that is a very real thing.
Yeah, it is. I'm not as concerned about that. I mean, I think that certainly that's part of the obligation of being good. I think they'll be able to handle that because Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, a lot of these players played in the college arena where they went through that. So it's certainly a concern until they prove it wrong, but I don't think that that's going to be a big downfall for this team. But I am worried about just the pure matchups of the game when it comes to the Jaguar defense. I'm worried about quarterbacks being able to basically sit in the pocket and go right after the secondary. And again, think about the big plays defensively that we've seen through 6 practices. We've seen Antonio Johnson pick off 2 passes. We've seen Chad Muma pick off a pass. How many defensive snaps are they playing in week 1? I mean, the answer is probably 0 or very few. Muma might get on the field defensively. Johnson won't unless there's an injury. So, I mean, where are the plays being made? And I think it is a real concern. And it starts with the lack of a pass rush, which doomed them last year. And I just don't know why, if there's a free agent out there that you have the money to sign, you would not sign them. I don't get it. This is the year. Not next year, not the year after. This is the year. Why would you not go secure a piece that could help you win the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm on board with you. And they have how much now after signing Evan to a long-term deal? $20 million?
Yeah.
So plenty, because we talked about even if you pay Jan the highest amount, or another free agent, the highest amount of what they'd expect it'd be somewhere in the $10 to $12 million range, that still leaves you money in case you have to do something else.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when they play and how many of the starters play defensively in the early part. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's been a fun camp so far. I would almost wonder if the defense suddenly wins a day or two. Coaches can design that. You know, I know you can script a win or a loss, and I almost think for the good of your overall team, it wouldn't surprise me if the defense won a series or two or a day or two. So we'll see what winds up happening. Anyway, fun Jaguar stuff going on. Take a break. Want to get into this whole college football landscape thing. What's the latest? Isn't today the day that everybody's meeting? And
that's right.
Aren't we supposed to know something today? I got a lot of thoughts about it. I thought that Pete Thamel did a terrific job writing a story about it. That's next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
And I think to myself,
Are you?
This is 1010XL.
oh, what a wonderful world.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
My name is David Lane. I'm just your average everyday Joe. I've had multiple procedures done at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, including both of my shoulders, a knee replacement, and an upcoming back surgery. I'd highly recommend the doctors and the staff over at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. If they can get this old dog back in the game, they surely can do the same for you.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Oh boy, not again.
Do you feel this way every time there's rain in the forecast? Amy Salt, owner of CrossFit Salt to Tear in the Riverside area, definitely did.
I had major rain anxiety from all the water collecting outside my gym. That's why I'm so happy I reached out to Clearwater Drainage. John came out, designed a system that moved the water off of my property, and all my kettlebells are now dry. I'm sleeping so much better at night.
Clearwater Irrigation.
And drainage, too.
ClearwaterJacks.com. Yo, yo, yo! Are you looking for the lowest price on car insurance? ET here for Australia Car Insurance. Call 1-800-CAR Insurance today. Australia is your quick and easy alternative to pay less for car insurance. Switch and save money. Call 1-800-CAR Insurance today.
If you're a Jaguars fan who's always on the move, we've got the perfect ticket for you with our Bundle at the Bank. You can purchase tickets to 3 or more games, starting at just $58 per game. Whether you're working around a work schedule or excited to share the hometown team with out-of-town family, you get the flexibility you want for your time at Everbank this fall.
Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000 to get your bundle at the bank.
Need cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all. Selling or pawning, get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS.
What's causing your hair to fall out? Can your hair grow back? Get to the root of your problem with IHRS Hair and Scalp Analysis. This analysis magnifies your hair and scalp 400 times to see what procedures can restore your hair. Call right now for your free analysis, 904-777-IHRS, or visit hairforme.com. Stop wasting money on solutions that don't work. IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years. They are the only clinic to offer the trademarked multi-unit hair grafting PRP platelet-rich plasma and the NeoGraft FUE hair transplant procedure.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Mark Watson for Hardball Creative. Free promo tip. Put your logo on golf balls and give them to clients who are bad golfers. More hacks equals more exposure. Trust me, it's science. Hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Beat the heat at Best Bet. We're paying out over $600,000 during the month of August with events like our $1,500 high hands. The action is on fire and there are tons of daily poker tournaments going on all month long. Come play the hottest games, including Ultimate Texas Hold'em, 3-card poker, 1-card poker, DJ Wild, and Pai Gow. Stay cool this month at Best Bet. For more information, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
The best golfing weather is upon us, and Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy your round of golf with us. Our warm and welcoming atmosphere and spectacular golf course keeps our customers coming back. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags! This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Batteries Plus. The Gators are on the practice field for fall camp. What's the theme of camp for head coach Billy Napier?
The theme here for training camp is we have to agree to an expectation. And I think that's a big deal. If we can agree to what's expected of each other, we can go into this training camp with the right attitude and the right approach. And we can say, hey, you know what? I'm up for that challenge. I'm going to put my ego aside. I'm going to put my emotions aside. Coach me. Tell me the truth. We can establish trust. We can establish respect.
For the first time since 2014, UF is holding an open practice during fall camp on Saturday at the Swamp. It's 88 degrees at 3:59. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Welcome back to the program along with Hayes Carline, Lauren Brooks, and R.J. Saunders. I'm Frank Frangie. Good to have Gibby in here. Jumping in to do the updates. You'll hear him throughout the course of these days doing updates with us. Can you give me an update? Big 12, Pac-12, Big 8, Southwest, Mountain West, Sun Belt, Conference USA, American Athletic Conference, and the Ivy League. Can you give me any thoughts on who's on in what?
I think Harvard's leaving the Ivy.
They're bailing
Yeah.
for the A-Sun, I'm told.
For the SEC.
Yes, for the SEC. Are they
Greg
now?
Sankey.
Oh, my
Wants
goodness.
that endowment.
So here's the one question on all of this. I thought about this after we did this on the show and had Rick on yesterday. Here's the one question I've got with all of this is if FSU or Clemson, any of them really, if any of those teams alert the ACC by August 15th that they're leaving, knowing and understanding that means they've got to pay the $300 million exit fee or $30 million a year for 10 years, which is what everyone says they're going to do. What happens to their television rights? That's the one I can't figure out.
Well, I mean, I would imagine if they buy out of it, the deal is done.
So their television rights can go to the new conference.
But I still don't know why the ACC would do it.
Yeah, well, why they'd let them buy out?
Correct.
Then that's then that's the second part of the question. Can they be blocked from the buyout? Can they legally be blocked from the buyout?
Right.
That's because I thought about this. You'll find the $30 million. If you're going to go from instead of making $30 million, making $70 million a year, well then it's a wash. You're actually ahead $10 million. So you'll find the money. So I've got to believe then it still comes back to can you keep your media rights if you do that? I don't think so. I think the part of the media rights thing that is or the grant of rights thing that is unbreakable is you can pay $8 trillion and you still don't own your media rights. When Florida State and Clemson play a football game, the ABC money that comes from that game goes to the ACC, even if they both belong to the SEC or the Big Ten. I think that's how I understand it. And look, nobody completely understands it because everybody, including school attorneys, have been trying to read this thing, and I still don't know that anybody knows that answer. Having said that, if that was the case, we wouldn't be having this discussion. Apparently there's enough smoke that there's some sort of a fire to this somehow, some way.
Right, and that's why I think the buyout relieves them of the grant of rights obligation. So they would buy it out, and then they'd be free to move on and collect their media money from their new conference partner. But again, it then goes to a different question, which is which of the two conferences are they going to? Because both seem to be awfully coy if they're basically 2 weeks away from adding a elite program like Florida State and obviously others. So it's either the Big Ten or the SEC, and Greg Sankey could not have been clearer about, and really has been from the start, about the Oklahoma and Texas thing. He's like, we didn't reach out to Oklahoma and Texas, or we didn't recruit them. They reached out to us. Now, obviously, Florida State, he could make that argument. Well, Florida State reached out to us. We didn't recruit Florida State. But that's where I think it's so interesting is how little we know about where is Florida State angling to get to. They obviously have a backroom deal with one of these conferences if they are doing this. You wouldn't buy your way out of this contract and turn your nose up at the $30 million you get from the ACC every year. Unless you knew where you were going. And that's why I think it's so interesting. Another component to this as well is, let's say Florida State legally challenges the grant of rights. Could schools like Duke, Syracuse, Wake, schools that are going to be really impacted by this, because it's going to be basically the death of the ACC if they lose Florida State and Clemson, does it then subject the schools that are leaving to whole other litigation? Because do those schools then come after the schools that are leaving and say, look, we had a deal here. You can't just buy your way out of this. We are counting on you staying in this. We are counting on this partnership that you signed up for through 2036. So that's to me another element of this is why would the ACC agree to any buyout, even if they were to agree to a buyout? Why would you allow for a 10-year, $30 million? I'd be like, fine, pay the entire $300 million right now, because you know they can't do that. No one has that money. So, that's what I think is so interesting about it. And where is FSU going? It'd be great to see him in the Big Ten. It'd be great to see him in the SEC. But is there a spot at the table?
Is it possible that FSU doesn't have a place to go yet, but they're putting their feelers out by putting kind of this information out in the air that we are looking into trying to break the grain of rights, which, by the way, is attached to the ACC network? That, to me, is the most ironic thing, is the ACC network doesn't make the ACC that much money, yet everyone's tied to the grain of rights all because of the early onset of the ACC network.
I think it's absolutely possible what you just asked. I don't believe FSU has a landing spot yet. I'm relatively certain it's not the SEC. If you told me, well, sources have now confirmed that there is a landing spot, we just can't tell you what they are, I would guess it's the Big Ten.
That's what I would think.
I don't think it's the SEC. I don't think the SEC is moving off 16 anytime soon. The Big Ten has made it clear that they are. The Big Ten has also made it clear that they are not interested in Oregon or Washington, despite how badly Oregon and Washington want to get there. They've made it clear they don't want them. Sometimes someone doesn't want you. I don't think it could be any more clear, could it, that the Big Ten doesn't want Oregon and Washington. And apparently Oregon and Washington don't want the Big 12. So they're either going to pine their way into the Big Ten or stay in what's left of the Pac-3 or whatever the hell they've got left when this is all over. There's also more talk than ever that those four corner schools are all going to the Big 12. It does look like now that, Colorado left. By all accounts, it really does look like now that Arizona is going, and apparently Arizona State and Utah are going to come with them. I read, was it Pete Thamel's column last night that said Arizona State and Utah are going to do something together, either stay or leave together? I think
so, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he said sources have indicated the Big 12 would work with its media partners to figure out a way to make the economics work if all three of those join with Colorado.
Because all three are coming together, So but again, I'll go back to Florida State. That's who we care about in this conversation. If I'm Florida State, if there's a way I can take, no matter what the cost is, if there's a way I can leave and take my rights with me, I'm gone. It doesn't matter what. I almost think, as crazy as this sounds, what if you're Florida State, and this all takes effect next year. It's all next year. If you're Florida State and you can get out, yet you don't have a landing place, what if you tried to play as an independent for a year or two? Would anybody play you?
Be a disaster.
Would it?
I don't think you could build a schedule.
Nobody would play you. What would make it a disaster is you couldn't get games.
Right.
You wouldn't think that would be my question. Could you get games?
And most 2024 schedules are pretty much done by this point.
Yeah, well, that's true too. I guess you're right. I guess your schedule is done. Well, the non-conference ones are, and you're right. This would be the whole schedule if you were FSU.
Right. And by the way, Notre Dame is linked also with the grant of rights. As obviously they're not in the ACC for football, but every other sport is also attached to the grant of rights. They're in the ACC for every sport other than football until 2036. The only thing that's not attached is football.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so I knew that. I know they're in.
As far as Notre Dame can't just up and say we're joining the Big Ten. Because, I guess for football they could, but every other sport is still attached to the ACC.
I did not realize that.
Yes.
I knew, we all know they're in the ACC in every sport other than football. What I did not know is they're also attached to that grant of rights.
They are.
So
just not football.
Notre Dame's like, we'll give up our men's tennis money.
Right. Well, that's true too. So,
men's basketball is in the ACC until. So I don't know that I don't know that Big Ten would take Notre Dame.
That's still been a dumb deal. Notre Dame is in the ACC and everything but football. That's not how you do it. Mm-hmm. Kind of shame on the ACC. If they're not coming in football, why are you taking them? Are you really making more money because their indoor track team beat Duke? I mean, really? I mean, why would the ACC have even taken Notre Dame if they couldn't get them for football?
Appeasement. They were hoping that it would eventually lead to
Yes.
landing football.
And that probably is it, isn't it?
And it should, with the way that everything's working. Notre Dame, if I was Jack Swafford, if I was him, I would be interested in joining a conference at this point in time. Otherwise, you're going to be left out.
But it's interesting because they feel like they're going to get every bit. See, they don't have to divide the pie. So if NBC gives them $60 million for their TV deal per year, they're doing pretty much as well as any team not in the Big Ten or the SEC, but they're close. And I don't know if it'll happen, but they seem to be confident that their next TV deal is going to be somewhat on par with the Big Ten and the SEC. So that's, I mean, to this point, the money has never forced Notre Dame to join a conference.
But wouldn't you be concerned about the possibility that we discuss, you bring it up all the time, Hayes, that the SEC and Big Ten break off and form their own college football league and then Notre Dame's left out?
They would have to join that, and they would be welcomed. They'd be the first call. But, yeah, and that's what I think should happen. I think the Big Ten and the SEC should merge, and I think they should sign whatever, like to get to a good even number, sign 10 more schools. Notre Dame would be the first of that 10. Florida State would be on that list. Miami would be on that list. Clemson would be on that list. And you have a 40-team, like, division. Like, that's it. It's not a conference. You're playing for the national title, these 40 teams. And if you wanted to pot them, make divisions, however you want to do it, but I would structure it very similarly to the NFL. You would just have more teams.
Yeah, and if you're, let's say, an Oklahoma State fan or an Oregon fan, you have to be scared if you think that one day would happen and you would be left out, because then you wouldn't be able to sustain your football team, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Let's do some predictions before we go to break. Prediction time. Next week, when we're talking about this, who's in what league?
I think nothing happens from now until next week. I think the conference realignment is a bunch of fun stories at the here and now, but only what we know now. Oklahoma and Texas go to the SEC, and USC, UCLA go to the Big Ten, and nothing else changes between now and next week.
Colorado.
And Colorado.
Okay,
they're already going.
Okay, then second, before Hayes goes, secondary part of that question. Next August, what does it look like?
That's, I think, the interesting part. Then I think you could see more teams leave the Pac-12, but the ACC, I think the grant of rights is
prediction.
Is too unbreakable.
Who's in what conference next August?
I'll say Washington and Oregon join the Big Ten.
Okay, so and so who's in the
But
Pac?
the ACC stays the same.
And the Big 12 stays the same.
And the Big 12 has already gotten that influx from Arizona. Also, Arizona State, Utah are all in the Big 12.
Okay, so the four.
That happens, yeah.
The Four Corners schools all go to the Big 12, taking them to 16.
Yes.
Oregon and Washington go to the Big 10, taking them to 18?
18.
And then the Pac-12 has 6 teams left.
Right.
And nothing happens with the ACC schools.
That's what I believe.
Your prediction?
Florida State will be in the Big Ten by August 16th.
You think by August 6th? How about that? Love that prediction. Okay, and what else? Someone's got to come.
The Pac-12 will disintegrate. The Big Ten will take Florida State, Clemson, Oregon, and Washington.
Can you imagine that?
And I think the SEC will stand pat.
Then the Four Corners go to the Big 12. Then.
Four Corners to the Big 12, and the ACC is basically dead. It leaves North Carolina and Virginia begging the SEC to take them, which they won't.
Which is never going to happen.
And I think the Pac-12 disintegrates.
How about that?
What about you?
I think more like what you said. I think the Four Corners schools are in the Big 12 next week. I think the Four Corners schools are announced to the Big 12 in 24 by next week. I think after all the talk about FSU and Clemson, I don't think they bail. I think they maybe come up with a deal where they get a bigger slice of the pie than the other ACC teams. I think a lot of this is posturing. Somehow, some way we're going to get out unless you give us. I think Clemson and FSU wind up with a bigger part of that 14-team pie than they're getting now.
We should ask Dabo Swinney about that today.
Yeah, really. But I think that winds up happening. I think the Four Corners schools The other 3 four-corner schools, Arizona State, Arizona, and Utah, join Colorado in the Big 12, which takes that conference to 16 teams. And then I think I don't
18, right? For the Big 12, aren't they going to be 14?
I think they're 13 now. If they add 3, it'd be 16.
Okay.
They were 12 before Colorado, right? I
thought they were 14. Okay,
No,
I thought they were 14.
no.
Okay.
So there's 16, I think. So 16 teams in the Big 12, including Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. I think the ACC stands pat with what they've got now. I don't think anything changes with the ACC. I think that stays the way it is. And then I think the Pac-12, then to Hayes' point, I think Oregon and Washington are still in it. I think Oregon State and Washington State are still in it. I think Cal and Stanford are still in it. And then I think those 6 teams probably then go and poach UNLV and San Diego State and Boise. I think those teams, and I think they probably get to 10. I don't think
So we still have a Power 5.
So, well, that's the question: is the Pac-12 really part of it? But yeah, I think that I would love to see FSU in the Big Ten. That would be for a football viewer, for a football fan viewing, watching FSU and Clemson get to the Big Ten would really be fun. If you ask what my preference would be what you said: FSU, Clemson, Oregon, and Washington to the Big Ten. That gets them to 18 or whatever it is. I think that in the 4 corner schools through the Big 12, I think that would make for real. And then Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, Washington State, then they really would be Mountain West teams. Then they'd be WAC teams, and let them do that. That's what I would hope it happens.
This is why we need a commissioner of college football, because these conferences are not working together.
And again, my candidacy remains. I have not pulled out, just so you guys know, and I will solve that thing very quickly in the event that I get that.
I have every confidence.
How many shows have I've broken it down before? Okay? I think last time I did it, I had Kansas and Kansas State in the Big Ten, or something like that. Something like that. We'll take a break. More in a moment. This is 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Now, the Lamb Rant, brought to you by the best bet card rooms of Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine.
I enjoyed the coverage the last 2 weeks by this station at the SEC and ACC Media Days. Excellent interviews of dozens of coaches and players by our guys. And now an observation. Make of it what you will. The ACC players, North Carolina quarterback Drake May and Clemson center Will Putnam, for 2, came across much better than the ACC players. Their answers were well thought out and well delivered. The schools are asked to bring their star players, but the coaches pick some players as a reward, whether or not they're stars. You assume the players will be prepared and won't be intimidated by all the attention. That's not always the case. Based on some of the excellent interviews of coaches, I really thought Kirby Smart of Georgia came across well. Both conferences revealed a mixture of stars, veterans, and promising young veterans. The good news is the season is only a month away.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval!
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. Johns County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Dailies Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. I always ask you about motorcycles, but Cycles right now features pontoon boats. Tell us about it.
It's an exciting time. We just got into it. We're carrying the Coach Pontoon lineup, overbuilt, lifetime structural warranty. Comes with a legendary Honda engine. These things are super fun. They are not your dad's pontoon boat.
That means they are tricked out, ready to roll.
The best sound system from Rockford Fosgate, Wet Sounds, they're in it.
Check out now the Coach Pontoon boats at Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The First Coast has voted. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is proud to be chosen as Bold City's best in the orthopedic practice and physical therapy and rehab centers categories once again. For the last 29 years, JOI has continually strived for the highest level of orthopedic surgery and rehab care. As the needs of the community evolve, so will they. That's why coaches, parents, and athletes choose JOI. Call them at JOI 2000 or visit JOI.net. JOI, where the pros go.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
The All-Pro Roofing phone line protects you from boring radio.
Hello? What are you doing here?
I don't know. Listen for great phone interviews all day on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
The calls have been pouring in.
On 1010XL.
Whether you are looking for a job or an employer trying to hire, there's only one stop in Jacksonville, Remedy Staffing. Labor trends keep us guessing. As employers, the job market has been strong. So what does that mean for workers' availability? If you're interested in the workforce solutions or how the Remedy team can help you, call or text Crystal at 904-329-9802. 329-9802, Remedy Staffing.
Hey folks, you know you want shark coatings, and the time is now. So close your eyes and let's imagine your garage. Wait, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Just wait till you get home. The rest of you see those cracks, the stains? It looks dark, dull, and dreary. It's nothing you're proud of. It's your house junk drawer. Now, see your floor with shark coatings. It's bright, it's durable, it's fresh. Since it's non-porous, it will be so much easier to clean. Don't imagine your garage, driveway, porch, or pool deck this way. Get with shark coatings and have a brand new space with new possibilities.
Your AC's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
Summertime is here and it's time to cast those worries out. And Royal is here to help you do that with our summer termite special featuring Centricon. Starting at just $249. That's right, I said $249 and that's installed.
Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
Great free agent signings come from doing your homework. Selecting a roofing contractor takes the same hard work. Preferred Roofing has a great track record and a Master Elite certification. A free agent you can trust and know you'll get your money's worth. And remember this, Preferred Roofing guarantees to educate their customers on such a big decision as replacing a roof. Let their consultants help you make an informed choice that you're sure to feel good about. Master Elite certified contractors, Preferred Roofing is who you need. Tell them Joe C. sent you.
Ackerman Urology's new Beaches location is now open, conveniently located on Atlantic Boulevard near Hodges. Visit the experts at Ackerman for all your prostate and urological concerns. AckermanUrology.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnicht Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941.
RJ just drop Easy Lover?
He did. How about this?
On a Tuesday? You give me Easy Lover on a Tuesday?
Peppy. I like it.
Turn that up, RJ. I'm not doing a segment here. With Phil Collins. I know what you're doing over there, Carline. Did me.
Enjoying.
Is this Phil Collins or is it Genesis?
It's Phil Collins. Yeah, solo.
When did he leave Genesis? Most of his stuff's Phil Collins, right? There was a little Genesis early on.
Yeah, well, he did land a confusion with Genesis.
That's right.
So I think he went solo, then came back to Genesis for like an album, then went back to solo.
I'm reading he didn't leave until March of '96. He was in Genesis for 25 years.
Officially left.
Yeah, but
he
I
did some stuff on his own.
But he
Yeah.
did he did side stuff on his own that was probably every bit as well received. Because Against All Odds is solo,
right?
And he did the Tarzan soundtrack for Disney that was well received.
Was Against All Odds a good movie?
Oh, so good.
Was Rachel Ward? Was Rachel Ward in that? Did she look okay in that? Did you, was she in that? She was
I'm
in it, right?
surprised she didn't melt the film as they were filming the movie.
This used to happen a lot.
Yeah.
The front man of bands would leave because they were the main star.
Well done, RJ. Good work by you.
And Philip Bailey was famous for
Well, in the duet with Phil Collins.
Well, right, but
with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
And by the way, and still is in Earth, Wind, and Fire, and can still hit those high notes. I told you guys this story. Philip Bailey, who's got to be 75, right?
I would think.
I saw Earth, Wind, and Fire in the arena 3 years ago, and I'm telling you, on Reasons, he still hits the note. I mean, unless he was lip syncing it, which I don't think he was.
No.
He was. I'm telling you,
He's only 72.
He's Philip Bailey, so he'd have been 69 at the time. I'm telling you, he was hitting Reasons like he was 25.
Wow.
And it was we were amazed watching him. So.
She reminds me. I'm looking at pictures now of this person, Rachel Ward. She reminds me of Susan Sarandon. Is that accurate?
No.
Okay.
Did you just say this person, Rachel Ward?
Yes.
Hayes, knowing how you feel, let me just support you on this.
I'm sorry.
If that ended the friendship with Lauren, I will support you. Okay. Yeah, it's your choice. Okay.
Right.
But if that ends the friendship,
right.
Okay,
Well,
I will. I have your back.
Well,
on this
here's
one.
what I would say about Rachel Ward,
Ward.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
So she's in this movie Against All Odds,
Yeah.
and she's unbelievably hot, but she does have kind of a unique haircut in that movie.
That's,
and when
I think,
you see
why I
Rachel
thought that.
Ward and and Susan Sarandon, to your point, did have a movie where she wears kind of a similar haircut.
Thank you.
But because I don't think Rachel Ward is amazingly hot in everything she did, but that role. Now, part of it's the movie, and the
character.
The character, but I mean, what do you think? Because I would say,
yeah, I agree with you. I think that is a safe point. I agree with that. I don't know that I've seen her in all that many things.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I've only seen her in 2 or 3 other things, but she wasn't what she was in Against All Odds.
Yeah, but I will tell you right now, I'm still angry with Richard Widmark for not letting Jeff Bridges date her. Okay,
I know.
But Jeff Bridges has a tryout with the Dolphins, and
That's
Widmark
right.
couldn't stop that.
Yeah.
Okay, just so you know. Now that we're clear on all
Right.
that, okay? I need to get that out, Brooks.
I've never seen Against All Odds. I will say it came out in the 80s, so it's
James Woods.
Is
was
it
the-
like
James
those
Woods
other
was the
80s
bad-
movies?
James Woods was the bad guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's almost it's similar.
Great movie.
I haven't seen it in 30 years, but
Okay.
it's similar to Body Heat.
Yeah,
in
correct.
terms of the
more serious. It wasn't a comedy. It was a
right.
serious, very
It's
serious.
a drama. Yeah, it's but there's a
Body
lot
Heat's
of
that's a great comparison.
passion.
Yeah.
It's
in
what
the
it looks like
movie.
just judging from the cover.
Oh, Body Heat's a great comparison.
Oh yeah,
It's a great that they were just like that
Right.
in that regard. So there's that. All right,
there you go.
Have y'all seen any new movies?
I've said this on the air, and I've got some friends that have just warned me out over this. But I want to see Barbie. I'm going to go to see Barbie with my wife. Does that make me bad? Less of a man? Am I less of a man if I go to see Barbie?
No, I've seen lots of pictures of friends of mine, and the whole families are going.
Gibby
and
just
so,
went
yeah.
with Nikki.
Yeah.
I want to go see Barbie. So,
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah.
That it's funny.
Suzanne saw the other one, Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Oh,
And she said it was.
I heard that's really good.
She said magnificent.
that's what I want to see.
I mean, it's way too intelligent for me, but my wife was very smart. She went to see it with friends. Said it was just fantastic.
That's what I heard. If you like history, especially World War II,
fantastic. Yeah,
Graham Cam just saw it.
Just fantastic. She said so. No, I haven't seen any, but I want again. I'm
Will you wear pink to go watch Barbie?
I might.
Yeah.
I might. Would that make me? Would you judge me then?
No.
Okay, cool. So there you go. Is that the thing? That's the thing. You wear pink to go.
Yeah.
on?
I mean,
you
again,
see-
from pictures. I'll never see anything in the theater.
Like the rest of your life.
That's
Now-
correct.
now
You don't
go the
think
rest of your
you'll
life-
ever
you'll
go to the movie
you'll
theater
go
for the rest of your
you'll
life?
go the rest
That
of your
is
life
correct.
and never go to another.
Yes, that is all correct. I will never.
Really?
Yes, I will
Yeah.
not go back to the movie theater. Why? When you can watch it at home and you can hit pause.
'Cause
That's the
it's
other thing
totally
Graham Cam said about
different. It's
Oppenheimer.
totally different.
It's over 3 hours. You want to sit in a movie theater and have to pee for 3 hours? That
Totally-
sounds terrible.
The big screen, I disagree. The big screen is different. It's a different environment.
I'll definitely go. I don't go very often, but I will. I mean, barring but if I hit my life expectancy, I'm definitely going to another movie in the movie theater before it's.
Well, good. You should.
That's amazing.
You'll never go again.
I haven't been since 2014. What indication do you need that
So you haven't been-
the last
hang
time I
on.
saw was American Sniper in 2014 in the theater.
What do you not like about going?
You haven't been to a movie theater in 10 years.
Yes, that's correct.
Almost.
Almost 10 years. Yeah. I'd rather be at home. That's
RJ,
all.
do you like going to the theater or no?
Oh, absolutely.
You're a theater guy,
You're
right?
normal.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
am
mean,
not.
popcorn the whole bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's how when I first got here to Jacksonville and was at FSCJ,
Yeah.
proud alum. Yeah, me and my friend Chris Neely, that's how we became close friends. He had me go see all the Marvel movies at the theater. So since then, I mean, I've loved going to the theater.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got it. This is making me judge Brooks. Did I not? Am I a worse person?
I didn't judge you for going to Barbie and wearing pink.
Well, you're also way nicer than me. I mean, never.
It's
going
strange to hear a young person say, "I'm
not
never
that
going
young."
back to
Well,
the movie
hang
theater
on.
for the rest
I'm not
of my
that
life."
young.
Hang on a second. Which young person said that?
Exactly. I'm not that young.
Okay, I just heard Lauren
Well, but
say
you
it.
could live another 50 years.
I
So to
could.
say that like you're not going to do something
I
for
mean,
50
I'm
years
saying-
that most people
I'm not saying never. I'm just saying at this point in my life, I have
Could
no
you-
interest in going back.
Could you be bribed to go?
Sure. Everything has a cost.
Everything's got a price.
Yeah,
That's
everything has a
exactly-
price.
There you go. Very good.
But I know you too
mean,
well
we're
to
not-
know you're not going to bribe
No, I'm not
me.
bribing.
Yeah.
I don't care if you go. I just think it's just an interesting that you're never ever going to go.
We're
to
not talking about like skydiving.
Yeah.
We're talking about, an activity that like
Yeah.
99% of the public
Yeah, it would never-
does.
I don't know if 99% do. It's a lot less expensive to watch movies at home.
I don't think it's
nowadays.
99% anymore either, because for a while there nobody went. You
Will
know?
never go for the rest of their lives?
Well, that's 90. Yeah, you're right. That's 1%. That's one. Yeah, he's right. That's definitely a 1% or so. Interesting stuff. All right, interesting. Never again. So that's tremendous. When we come back, the baseball deals are going crazy. Who won so far, and what we know? We'll talk about it. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
There are different kinds of family.
XL Prime Time.
Joe, Matt, Leon, and Mia.
One big happy family.
Like, what is it about us? I mean, why all this friction between us?
Noon to 3 weekdays.
You put on quite a show.
On 1010XL.
Now at Hodges Mazda, for those who never stop refining, lease a new 2023 Mazda 3 sedan during the Season of Discovery sales event for only $329 a month. The Mazda 3 enables you to enjoy a new form of indulgence. Lauren Brooks here, plus all vehicle purchases come with 2 years free maintenance. The sales staff works on salary, not commission, allowing Hodges Mazda to put your best interests first. That's the Hodges Mazda difference. Visit Hodges Mazda online at HodgesMazda.com. See dealer for details. $3,499 due at lease signing. Terms and fees for qualified lessees. 36-month lease expires September 5th, 2023.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason Stanley Pools is a family tradition of fine swimming pools. It's locally owned and run by the Stanley family since 1988. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build and renovate our pool, and they do a fantastic job of maintaining it. I've recommended Stanley Pools for years for pool construction, repairs, maintenance, and renovation. Call Stanley Pools at 269-7277 today to transform your backyard. That's Stanley Pools, 269-7277.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE, the medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most advanced treatments to eliminate ED and PE. 98% of men experience instant results on their first office visit. They're even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Don't just take our word for it. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now for our limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
The house is taking a beating this summer with all the in and out. Time to call Zero Res. Right now, Zero Res offering the hottest price of the year, on tile and grout cleaning. Get your tile and grout cleaned and sealed for 25% off. Zero res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Baloo here for Shinatri Chiropractic, the breakdown of the body. Stop fighting it. Visit Shinatri Chiropractic, the official chiropractor of JU Athletics. Back and neck pain, arms, legs giving you problems. Get an effective diagnosis and treatment with an adjustment or dry needling. How about acupuncture, which I love because it works? Get rid of your pain and tension. Call 743-6700 or visit them at 2711 University Boulevard, Shinatri Chiropractic.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 1st, 1971, Richard Petty wins the Dixie 500 in Atlanta, Georgia to become the first NASCAR driver to win $1 million in career earnings.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I said yes to Yas, Dr. Mitchell Yas, and the Yas method. Now, I know you've probably tried medications, treatments, injections, even surgery. Maybe the reason you're still in pain is because they're treating the wrong thing and not addressing the root causes. Well, I know from personal experience, this does happen. But I found the best-kept secret in pain elimination, Dr. Yas and the Yas method. Call him today, 904-906-YASS, and say yes to Yas.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. I've heard people selling diamonds saying they have high-quality diamonds at rock-bottom prices. Can that happen?
Frank, that'd be like a Mercedes dealer saying they sold at the same price as a Yugo. That just doesn't happen in any industry, and people who believe it are always the ones looking for something too good to be true, and they normally find out later it was. In diamonds, when you talk about higher quality diamonds with credible diamond grading reports from GIA, AGS, or Forevermark, the prices are higher, but so is the quality and value. Now, for a customer to understand that, they have to try to learn things like going to the internet, but they're going to get confused because they don't have an expert to ask questions to. The best way to get answers is to come in one of our stores and ask one of our professionals what those questions are and have them explain real diamonds to you. The result will be you'll understand more about a diamond's quality, price, and value by coming in.
Underwood Jewelers in San Marco, in Avondale, and at the shops of Ponte Vedra.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
There was a strong national media presence on the sidelines at the Miller Electric Center this morning at Jaguars training camp. Among those taking in this morning's Jaguars practice was ESPN senior NFL reporter Jeremy Fowler.
Yeah, there's definitely some buzz here. I mean, there are a lot of more folks from around the country coming into town like I am, I think, more so than before because of the playoff caliber roster. So I'm excited to see, you hear a lot about Calvin Ridley, what he's been doing. I'm curious to watch his route running. And then just to really see what the defense is made of. It's a collection of good talent. We'll see how it sort of coalesces, and guys like Trevon Walker can then make a jump.
ESPN's Jeremy Fowler today at Jaguars training camp. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Temperatures rising, I don't wanna feel I'm in the wrong place
RJ, if you're going to sing along, do it on air.
72 years old, huh?
Amazing.
I mean, amazing. And I'm telling you, he still sounds like this. Honest to God.
There you go.
This is such a good song. RJ, you sing it, brother. RJ, this is RJ's welcome to the show moments, what this is, all right?
I concur. You want to talk about baseball?
No, I want to listen to Philip Bailey hit that doggone high note, Carline. Kidding me?
Good call.
Oh, my goodness. Nice.
Who's winning so far, Frank?
Whoever got Justin Verlander.
The Astros.
Don't you think? I mean, I don't want to oversimplify this.
Is he the same pitcher?
He's been fine.
Because the Dodgers getting Lance Lynn, to me, I thought that was a big move.
I did too. He's pitched above the X's and O's, to use Hayes Carline's phrase.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Justin Verlander.
Right.
I mean, whoever was going, if they were going to move Justin Verlander. Now listen, what does he make? Is he making $40 million?
I think so.
And they have to pay him for 2 years, right?
Correct.
So he's owed $80 million, or at the end of this 40 plus next year's
43.3.
40. Okay, so, but he's a gamer, man. You know, he just went to the defending world champions, so they know how to win. And I do. I think the worst thing that could have happened to all those American League teams, don't you think, is Justin Verlander landing in the American League? Doesn't it feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely, because you think of what he can do in a series and how valuable he can be, and he's done it before. So, yeah, I mean, it automatically makes the AL West, I think, the most captivating race to the finish now because of how tightly they're grouped together. The Rangers have been a surprise. The Astros obviously are a proven commodity. They're only a half game out, and you've got the Ohtani factor of what if he's able to lead the Angels somehow into the tournament. So, yeah, I mean, it's been an exciting deadline.
So here's my question. What does it do to a team like the Orioles, who have had this glorious young person season, but they didn't do anything, right? I mean, they didn't. They're the one. Aren't they the one team that did like literally nothing?
I have not seen anyone that they've acquired. If they have, then it's been a name that we wouldn't know.
I mean, to the Rays' credit, the Rays tried to do a bunch of deals and did wind up with a Cleveland guy, right? So Savali.
Savale.
Yeah, so at least to their credit, at least the Rays tried to get involved.
So the Mariners reportedly traded right-handed pitcher Logan Reinhart to the Orioles.
Oh, they did.
So again, that's a name that I don't necessarily know, but that is a move that they made. So
I'll tell you one to keep.
Everybody needs pitching. I'll
tell you one to keep an eye on: Michael Lorenzen to the Phillies, who's become he was an all-star this year. He's become pretty good. I think that deal. I'm shocked that the Padres are still making deals.
Yeah,
because they're not very good.
But they've been, it's all that. What have you done for me lately? And the Padres and the Cubs, like we've talked about, they both got on a hot streak, and so they completely flipped from sellers to buyers.
Lauren, the Pirates have beaten the Padres 5 out of 6.
Mm-hmm.
I went to 2 of them.
Right.
I don't think the Padres are very good. I mean, sometimes it's the eye test. I don't know why sometimes teams should be better, they're just not.
So they got Rich Hill and G-Man Choi from the Pirates.
Yeah, who are average.
Yeah, but Rich Hill is
he's 43.
Yeah, he's older,
and he looks 43.
Yeah, an older pitcher. Now, I like G-Man Choi. I told you that before you acquired him.
And he actually has been playing pretty well of late.
This is interesting about Verlander. This is from CBS Sports. So his 6 July starts, Verlander had an ERA of 1.69. So I mean, he's been
in July.
So his last 6 starts, he's been pitching really well with 16 more strikeouts than walks over those 6 starts. So, if you're Houston, you're banking on this is the time of year where he starts to peak. And
he went to a team that he knows, that they know him. I don't.
How much of that team though would he have still have played with? I feel like they've had a lot of turnover.
I guess since last year, not as much, right? I'm gonna go. I mean, if you go through. All right, so Chafin went today to the Brewers. He's just okay. You pointed out the the Reinhardt deal. He's just okay, I think. Lorenzen, I think, keep an eye on that one. Verlander, that's the big deal. Obviously the big deal. Rich Hill, who cares? Boy, the Cardinals are selling. Did you ever think the Cardinals would sell off Hayes? I mean, the Cardinals are selling. Now they didn't move Arenado, which was the rumor. But did you ever? I in my lifetime, I can't remember the Cardinals selling at the deadline.
When was the last time they finished in the cellar of a division?
In my lifetime, never.
Well, that's where they are right now.
Mark Lamping told me all his years there, they were never under 500.
Yeah,
he said they were never they were never under 500.
They're 13 games under right now, and they are a game back of the Pirates for last in the Central.
Yeah, so
I mean, pretty remarkable.
The last time the Cardinals finished last place was World War I.
Wow,
is that right?
Mm-hmm.
How about that? World War I is the last
1918.
I mean, you're talking about Franz Ferdinand.
I mean, and they're probably not going to necessarily finish last. But I think I probably got dibs on that. But the fact that they,
but you don't today.
But I don't today. I'll tell you this: keep an eye on the Angels. C.J. Cron wasn't he on the Rays? He was on the Rays. Wasn't he?
A few years ago.
C.J. Cron
Wasn't he on the Pirates after that?
No, he wasn't on the Pirates.
Oh, okay.
He was on the Rockies. But he's a power hitter. Now he's been hurt all year. But when Randall Grichuk hit a home run the minute he got to the Angels, keep an eye on the Angels. I'm just going to tell you, I will applaud them more than any of these other teams because they're at least trying. Now the Rangers are really trying too. By the way,
Cron started his career at the Angels, then he went to the Rays.
Oh, he did.
Then a few other teams, before the Rockies.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Rangers are really trying. The Dodgers always try because they got a bunch. They don't care. The Dodgers are the one team that have both money and prospects. I still think the Braves are the team to beat. Don't you get that sense that even after all this, the Braves are still the team to beat?
I think so. Listen to this for the Astros. They have 4 games at the Yankees, August 3rd through the 6th. They then go to Baltimore for 3. So that's going to be a really interesting 7-game road trip for them. Then they come home and play the Angels for 3.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. They were playing pretty well. And the Rays were leaking oil. I told you the Rays weren't just leaking oil. I thought the engine blew up. Dang, Rays went in there and won 2 out of 3. And baseball's like that. Just about when you think somebody's done. And I watched. Did you watch those games?
Mm-hmm.
I watched those games. The Rays were better. I mean, they had the one game where the Astros blew them out.
Yeah.
But I thought the Rays, that was a good series for the Rays.
Yeah, and the deciding series when Josh Lowe had to come up to plate in the first inning and hit a 3-run bomb, and that really set the tone. And so, that's a team that's made up of a bunch of guys that play really good defense and at times are hot at the plate, but other times throughout the season they haven't been, and that's when you saw the slump. And so guys like Lowe, guys like Brandon Lau, and then obviously your superstars have to be more consistent.
I still think that JJ said something interesting when he was producing our show last week. He's a diehard Braves fan. His biggest concern in the league is the Phillies. Not that they're going to catch him in the East. They're 11 games back. They're not catching him. But because the Phillies still have some stuff, I mean, they even with the first baseman guy out for the year, I forget his name, the Phillies first baseman was gone for the year before the season. Even without him, and they've been playing Harper at first base, they're still. What's the guy's name? The first baseman, the good hitting first baseman,
Rhys Hoskins.
Rhys Hoskins. Even though they lost Hoskins for the year, I still think they're pretty good. It'll be interesting to see. Right now, give me the World Series, Hayes. Who beats whom?
The Braves will beat the Astros.
You do think it's the Astros? Yeah, I hear you. It's hard to argue the Braves. What about it, Brooks?
To be different, I'll say Braves Rays.
Okay, that would make sense too. I think Braves. I think it might be Braves Rays too, but just to go different, I'll say Rangers.
Okay.
I'll say the Braves versus the Rangers. I think
None of us said Dodgers. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think most people think the Braves are better than the Dodgers. The Braves have a better team than the Dodgers. Regardless, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But the Braves have a better team than the Dodgers. They do. They have a better team. So it'll be interesting to see what one.
The Dodgers just did more because they always do.
And the Dodgers have a really good team. I'm not saying the Dodgers don't have, but I think sports has this tendency to overuse words. culture is way overused.
Sure.
Great is way overused. The one word, Hayes, is now way too overused is generational. We do it way too much. So I'm not going to say the Braves are a generational team, but boy, they're really good. I mean, the Atlanta Braves they are really good.
Yeah, they're pacing with, I believe, that Twins team from a few years ago for most home runs in one season. So obviously they've got some dynamic players, but again, it's sometimes it just comes down to peaking at the right time, and they weren't able to do that last year.
The Pirates play the Braves 4 times next week, and 3 weeks later get to play them 3 more times. That'll be fun. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, the A's took a series from the Braves,
yeah.
There's hope.
That's what I'm looking forward to. The Braves and the Pirates getting together. What's coming up tonight? What are we doing? I need details. I want them all, please.
Yeah, we're going to talk a ton of Jaguars training camp. Obviously, me and I have been out there every day, and then we'll do some NFL, around the NFL as well. And then Becky Burley's going to join us to talk about this morning's soccer game. Yes, USA-Portugal, the tie.
I'll be very interested to hear what she says about that.
Me too. I'm going to start off and just ask her about, the actual play of the game, if she would do anything different if she was the head coach, and then certainly ask her what she thought about Carly Lloyd ripping the team.
Let me reset that a little bit, because we only talked about it at the top, and you're the one who would know that better than us. The U.S. women's national team has not played very well. They did finish second in the pool, which means they get to move on to the round of 16, but they weren't very good. Even when they beat Vietnam 3-0, they weren't very good by their standards. They've had 2 ties since then. They probably should have lost to Portugal last night or early this morning, whatever. Right. I mean, they got outplayed according to people that know soccer.
Yes.
Portugal had a shot to win the game. I say to win the game. That probably would have won the game. Hit the post. Probably should have been a goal. They just hit the post and went out. And the U.S. team got lucky, got outplayed, and won the game. Afterwards, they went to the panel, like the game day set, the studio set that's there. And Carly Lloyd, a former player. And by the way, Carly Lloyd will be more well-known now for that than anything she did on the pitch. She will be more not soccer people.
Sure.
Because there's now people that know nothing about soccer that now know the name Carly Lloyd. So
yeah, I think more people would be paying attention. The next game is Sunday at 5 a.m. And the opponents to be determined.
Right. So, but nonetheless, so she ripped the team, just absolutely scorched earth on them. Really, really talked about how awful they were and how uncommitted they are and how they're more showboat and grandstand and worried about their social stuff than they are about being good soccer players, and almost said they were an embarrassment. She didn't use that phrase. You saw the comments. You're a diehard soccer fan. You know the team. Was she out of line? Was she right? Was she right but out of line to say it, or was she right and right to say it?
I think she was right and right to say it based off of following this team over the past 4 years. I think she, more than most people, also have an access to the team that us fans don't have. I mean, it would be like Hayes, who goes in the Jaguars locker room throughout the season. If he makes a comment about this Jaguars team, everyone's going to respect that, whether it's positive or negative, because he is following it. She's following this team. I'm sure she's at practice, and she follows all of them as far as their personal lives are concerned as well. And so, yeah, I mean, I think 4 years ago when the United States women's national team played an inferior team, they won 13-0. This team won 3-0. So I think that's where you compare it. They finished 4 years ago. They're not finishing now. They were sloppy as all get out this morning. They were not that 4 years ago. Is it their effort, or are they just not as good? That's what I think is yet to be determined. But from her perspective, she believes they're more worried about their Instagram and endorsements than they are their actual play.
What will the fallout from this be, from the Carly Lloyd comments?
The head coach already responded and called basically the comments insane.
And he's furious.
Yes, he was upset, as of course every head coach would be if that's the case. If someone's ripping your team, I don't think there will be that much fallout as long as the United States women's national team wins the next game.
But I assume she was friends with Alex Morgan and Rapinoe and all those players, right?
I don't necessarily assume that. They were teammates.
Oh, you're right.
I don't necessarily assume that they were friends.
Good point. Maybe they weren't.
We certainly know lots of football players who are on the same team that don't run in the same circles these days.
You're right. Good point. But I'm just telling you, Hayes, it was very unusual to. Did you watch the comments? You read about them?
Yes.
She had the look in her eye, man.
Oh yeah. Well, again, to Lauren's point, she just got done playing in 2021, and she was on the national team for 16 years. I mean,
yeah, she poured everything
into it, and so yeah, she absolutely has the right. I can't comment on if she's correct, because I didn't watch the game, but I certainly would go with Lauren. I mean, I don't think Carly Lloyd was looking to create a story. I think she watched a game, was really disappointed in what she saw, and they turned a camera on, and she gave that opinion. And my guess is she was probably dead on. And again, that's what you think, and you saw the game. And
yeah, if you're watching a team that's not hustling, no matter what the sport is, you're going to sit there and be critical.
I'll say this, by the way. She has made a name, for better or worse. People now know who Carly Lloyd is, and I'm not saying she was doing it for that, but
right. And this is not the first time that the panel has criticized the women's national team this World Cup. This is just the one that caught most people's attention.
All right, enjoy your hour off.
Thank you.
Warren will be back to host Helmets and Heels with me and Taylor. That comes up in about an hour. 1 hour to go. RJ Hayes and I will have that for you, so stick around.
Get more downforce on Jacksonville's NASCAR station.
It's showtime!
This Sunday at Michigan International Speedway. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. From the station with the most horsepower, 1010XL.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Did you know that hot weather is worse for your car than cold? It's true. Extreme heat can evaporate your battery's fluids and cause corrosion. If you're having a hard time starting your engine, visit Batteries Plus. We'll test your battery free of charge. We have plenty of replacement batteries on hand. Plus, we offer installation on most makes and models, or upgrade to Premier installation for added protection. Stop by your nearest location or shop our selection online at batteriesplus.com.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Who's your hero? Before you answer Superman, I don't mean those heroes. I'm talking our local heroes. Do you know one? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet want to recognize your hero in a big way. This year, we will recognize local heroes in our community and honor them with a brand new car. That's right, we'll be giving away a brand new car, cash, and free oil changes for life to our local heroes. Visit localwowheroes.com to nominate and vote today. Let's wow our heroes.
This is former NFL quarterback David Garrard. If your knees have taken a beating and you're finally ready to do something about it, then let Southeast Orthopedic take a look. Come on, do your knees a favor.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
What? They did not tell me they were going to do that. I need a new bank.
Well, actually, One-to-One Financial doesn't do the usual bank surprises because we're not a bank. We're a credit union. And that means lower loan interest, things like free checking and member rewards, and of course, total investment back into our community.
I'm sold.
Find a better way to bank than big banks with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit 121fcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA. Northeast Florida's highest-rated residential home electrical contractor is American Electrical, providing unsurpassed quality in Duval, St. Johns, Clay, and Nassau counties. No matter your electrical problem or project, large or small, American Electrical will get it done at a price that's right. High-quality electrician, that's who they are. Trusted company that's been on the First Coast for decades, proudly serving the community while being a big part of the community. Call American Electrical for all your electric needs at 737-7770. Wired right at a fair price.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra, maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
It's time to crank up the heat where the helmets meet.
Huddle up! Huddle up!
Every time something you need to know happens at training camp, you'll hear about it on 1010XL.
Let's go!
Brought to you by Kingfish Pest Control and Roland Leash Plumbing.
Ackerman Urology offers the most advanced options for improving men's health and vitality. Their board-certified urologists treat all prostate disease and sexual health issues. Call their new location on Atlantic and Hodges or visit AckermanUrology.com.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers, Cam Locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
The following people are under the influence of no air conditioning.
Oh, man.
Is it ever hot? I can't get up. My legs are stuck to the chair.
Can guys go through menopause?
Why?
I think I'm having a hot flash.
Don't let no AC happen to you. Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning, available 24 hours a day, and they'll fix it right the first time. When your AC system needs a repair, it's time to call Duck Duck Air, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, a division of Duck Duck Rooter.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. The Gators are on the practice field for fall camp. What has impressed head coach Billy Napier so far in fall camp?
I think that's one of the things I've been most pleased with is we have a number of leaders emerging that maybe weren't in that place when we started in January, if that makes sense. You know, I think there's a different level of connection with this group, the team chemistry, the morale, the energy in the building. So we're turning the page.
Florida will hold an open practice on Saturday at the Swamp with gates opening at 2 p.m. MLB trade deadline less than an hour away at 6 o'clock. The Braves have acquired left-hander Brad Hand from Colorado. The Marlins have acquired infielder Jake Berger from the Chicago White Sox. 88 degrees at 5:01. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Here, that means it's time for more football. Football at 5.
5 o'clock somewhere.
On the Frangie Show.
I mean, like, you know.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on the Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline, R.J. Saunders with you as we move along on a Tuesday. Lauren Brooks has the hour off now. She gets set to host Helmets and Heels along with me and Taylor. That comes up at the bottom of the hour. Don't lie to me, Carline. When you saw this video of downtown Max Brown throwing that deep corner out, it all changed, didn't it?
It did. The quarterback depth chart at the University of Florida is officially in flux.
Yeah, you know what? I think they have a very good quarterback room. Okay?
Obviously.
I like the quarterback room.
Yeah, because he's only tried to add a fourth about 8 times this offseason. And
small
failed
room.
each time.
You telling me it's still a small room? The problem is you don't need a lot of space.
Right.
Kind of like 10 by 10.
Yeah.
10 by like a closet room is what it is. So there you go. Florida is on the practice field. They play Utah on the. Do you like the Thursday night game to start the season or not? We haven't talked about that.
I think it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that if you're going to play this kind of a game, you don't want to be overshadowed on a Saturday. And I think it would be because of Florida, and it's Florida's fault. Utah has lived up to the arrangement and then some. When this game was scheduled, it was like, oh, that's cute. Florida's playing Utah, which is kind of a nice opponent, but certainly an opponent you should beat twice. And Florida still could. They won last year, but they're going to be a heavy underdog at Utah. So I think if it was just on Saturday, it would sort of get lost with some of the other marquee games.
Right.
So I think it makes sense. You put it Thursday night, and you have to always hope that you're going to win the game, that it's going to go your way. So I think for Florida, it's a chance to make a gigantic statement right out of the gate, furthering – echoing Napier's point to you at SEC Football Media Days of we've got something.
Right.
We may be the only ones that know it, but we feel like we've got something. Well, if you go and beat Utah in their house, who hasn't lost in that building since prior to the pandemic, who's the 2-time reigning Pac-12 champ, who's probably going to be a preseason top 12 team, if not higher, then you've made a massive statement, and now for the whole opening weekend – people are talking about that game. So, yes, I think it's an advantage for Florida to play it on Thursday. And if you lose, you really don't have anything to lose anyway because people don't expect you to win.
Is this the first Thursday nighter since Starkville in '92?
It has to be, right?
I don't remember. Think about that. The University of Florida. I mean, Thursday night, it's not a standard college football night, but it's one of the nights of college football. Now.
Sure.
I mean, they've been playing Thursday night games in college football for 30 years now.
Right. And that was like year one.
That was one of the early ones. Yeah, that was one.
Because it was the initial Thursday night matchups were pretty big time.
Right. Yeah,
game,
the
big
SEC
time
played,
teams.
and I can tell you, there were those at the University of Florida. So for people that don't know, Florida was the best team in the SEC in 90 and 91. They would have won the conference in 90 if they not had its goofy probation that had nothing to do with the players on the team. And they did win it in 91. And 92 was the first year of the divisions. And even with the first year of the divisions, Florida's team was way down, but they still won the East, so they had a pretty good team. But they went to Starkville, Mississippi on a Thursday night and just got waxed. My friend Shane Matthews threw 5 interceptions that game. You remember the game?
Yeah.
And afterwards, I can remember there were those in Gainesville that said, we'll never play another one of these. And they have not played one until now.
Right.
I really don't. I was racking my brain to think if there's been another Thursday nighter since 1992. I was there, by the way. I was the beat guy. And since has there been one since 1992? And I don't believe that there has.
I don't think there has been. And that would have been game like 4 that season. It feels like it was early. It wasn't the opener.
Right.
It feels like it. They weren't too far in, but pretty far into the season. And yeah, that was the 2 true freshmen offensive tackles, right? Green and Odom. That year
was right.
And Mississippi State just, dominated the trenches.
I didn't remember the score. I just know
I think it was 36 to 13 or something. Was that the game Spurrier punted on 3rd down? He was so
I don't think that wasn't
irritated.
That wasn't a Shane game.
Okay.
But I remember all I remember is Shane threw 5 interceptions, only because I've reminded him of that about 55 times.
Right.
But and Shane Matthews is a great player. By the way.
Oh yeah, 2-time SEC Player of the Year.
Yeah, but he threw 5 interceptions that game, and what I remember about that night in Starkville, even more than that. So it was a 7:00 Eastern time tip, maybe 7:30 back then, which would have been 6 or 6:30 Central Time, which meant the game was over by 10. Filed my story by about 11 Central because we had that 12:05 third edition deadline. So by about 11:15, I was done on a Thursday night in a college town. Have you ever been in a college town on a Thursday night? Nothing open.
Really?
In Stark Vegas,
Wow.
Thursday night at 11 in a college town.
Wow.
Nothing open.
How about that?
Not even the subway. You got to have the subway open, okay? I needed a turkey and cheese if there was nothing else. So that's a very, very unhappy time.
Yeah. So, I think it has to be the last Thursday game. Really, to be honest, in terms of regular season games on odd dates, last season's Friday night Florida State game was an oddity. So, yeah, it's, now this is the opener. So even though it's on a Thursday, it's not going to really be a disruption. It's not going to be a short week for Florida or for Utah. But yeah, I like it. What do you like the fact that what can it do from an exposure standpoint if Florida wins the game?
Well, I think or plays well. I hate to get into the whole moral victory thing, but I think honestly, the game was on October 1st, so it was very, to your point, it was very early in the season. I think Florida. I never thought they'd get to this point, but needs the game. It was 30-6, and it was the 4th game for both teams. Now I tell you, it was the 3rd game for Florida. They were 1-2. It was the 4th game for Mississippi State. They were 3-1. No, I honestly, Hayes, I think I never thought I'd say this about the Florida football team, but this was a Florida football team that needs exposure because they were picked 5th in the SEC East. According to Pat Dooley, that's the lowest ever since they've had SEC Media Day since 1985. Lowest ever. They've had some bad teams down in that stretch. And the lowest they've ever been picked. They're an irrelevant franchise. People aren't sure Billy Napier's going to be a good coach. The Florida people think he's going to be a good recruiter. I'll say this. One thing I noticed about talking to all the SEC media folks when we were in Nashville is the Florida people all think he's going to be a very good recruiter and ultimately very good coach, and they're going to win under him. And I'm among those. I think you think that.
Yes.
But we are Florida people. I can tell you, and I think you probably heard this too when we were in Nashville, there's not a lot of confidence that that's what they will be. There's not this like all this confidence that they're going to be that this is the right guy. So a team that's irrelevant, they got a transfer quarterback that nobody thinks is going to be very good. They've got a team that nobody thinks is particularly good. They need this game, and they need people to see good from them, whether they win or not. I think it's very important.
Well, to that end, if they go to Utah and it's 34-10
Right.
Utah, he's got a massive problem because his biggest asset right now is that recruiting class.
Right.
And you would be introducing a massive variable into keeping that class if you just get walloped on national TV. Now, the good news for Florida, if it can be perceived as that, I guess the silver lining to a hard schedule, is they will have many more opportunities to play well and win some big games against some highly ranked teams. But then the narrative becomes, oh boy, can you believe how far Florida has gone? Napier's not going to make it. I mean, you have to deal with this for 48 hours before the next game is played. That's a long time, particularly for high school seniors that are way more impressionable. So, it's interesting. They had Jeremiah Smith on campus yesterday, who did an interview with one of the reporters for 24/7, and he basically said, "I'm waiting to see how they play this year." Was his comment to him that he's committed to Ohio State, but he has visited Florida multiple times. He's also visited Florida State multiple times. And it was interesting to me. You don't often hear a recruit say that about a school that's chasing him. But Jeremiah Smith told, I think it was Jacob Rudner, I apologize, but it was 24/7 Sports. And his comment, one of the many comments that Jeremiah Smith made, and again, this is the second best player in the country overall on the 24/7 player rankings. This is a transformational receiver. If Florida were to get him, it would be the biggest recruiting win they've had in 15 years. And but he said, I need to see how they play this fall. So you absolutely have to assume that if it doesn't go well for Florida, you have to think there's kids that are part of that class now that are committed that would be rattled perhaps off of it if it doesn't go well. So I'm glad they're having it. I think Florida is going to play well in that game. So I don't think they're going to get killed. And I do think they'll cover the spread. But it's a massive opportunity, but it's also got the recipe for disaster if they get absolutely destroyed.
I have told you to that end. I've told you this before. I do believe the one thing with this early recruiting date, I do believe you have to win to keep your class intact. You don't have to win them all, but you have to win some to keep the class intact. You can't just say, well, they're all committed. It doesn't matter how badly we play because they're coming and then we'll be better after they get here. It doesn't work like that, man. It really doesn't work like that. You have got to be pretty good on the field even when you have a bunch of recruits that are supposed to be coming your way, or you're going to wind up losing them. I'm a big believer in that, Hayes. I think it happened to them a little bit last year.
Yeah,
I think they didn't. I don't know.
They didn't close strong.
Yeah, they didn't have. I think a lot of the struggles they had down the stretch in recruiting is because people said, we love this staff, we love Katie Turner, we love this, we love that. But what if they can't coach them? What if they can't coach them up, right?
This is a Florida program that lost at home to Kentucky last year and to Vanderbilt. That is obviously very concerning. And a massive step forward needs to take place this year. He doesn't have to go 10-2, obviously.
Right.
He doesn't even have to go 9-3. But I do think it is a fair expectation to ask him to go 8-4 in his second year.
All right, let's take a break. We'll talk some Jaguars when we come back. Young players who have shown up. That's our topic. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
This traffic report is brought to you by 1010XL. I-95 North.
Hey, it sucks.
I-95 South.
It sucks.
Beltway East.
Sucks.
Beltway West.
It sucks.
Butler Boulevard.
It sucks.
Did you know the 2023 Honda CR-V Hybrid never needs to be plugged in? The onboard system charges the batteries for you. When you think Honda, think hybrid. Good for the environment, great for your budget. Visit your local Honda dealer to experience the CR-V of the future today.
Big Chief Tire has served the Jacksonville community with reliable and honest auto service for over 60 years. Frangie here. Our experienced technician will treat you like family when you visit for repairs, new tires, oil changes, and more. We're proud to announce our new Orange Park location to better serve customers with fair prices and quality service. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment at one of 5 Jacksonville locations. We keep Jacks rolling.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting!
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE, the medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most advanced treatments to eliminate ED and PE. 98% of men experience instant results on their first office visit. They're even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Don't just take our word for it. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now for our limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative, with answers to the questions I'm asked the most. Yes, we are local, and no, I'm not hiring an actor to read these commercials. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reich Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Hey folks, you know you want shark coatings, and the time is now. So close your eyes and let's imagine your garage. Wait, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Just wait till you get home. The rest of you see those cracks, the stains? It looks dark, dull, and dreary. It's nothing you're proud of. It's your house junk drawer. Now, see your floor with shark coatings. It's bright, it's durable, it's fresh. Since it's non-porous, it will be so much easier to clean. Don't imagine your garage, driveway, porch, or pool deck this way. Get with shark coatings and have a brand new space with new possibilities.
WORK Work News Radio.
Next up, incidents of pressing all the elevator buttons unexpectedly spike on Bring Your Kid to Work Day. But first, the latest on a team lunch that wasn't ordered through Easy Cater.
I'm in the break room where lunch that was previously announced on the way has now been downgraded to hopefully soon.
Fingers crossed, Michelle. Fingers crossed.
Newsflash, it's hard when the food is late. But at Easy Cater, we make hard easy. With food for work delivered on time and is ordered from over 100,000 restaurants. Order 24/7 at EasyCater.com.
Hey, poker players! The Card Player Poker Tour is back at Best Bet Jacksonville from August 10th to the 21st. The tournament schedule's packed with excitement and features 9 different poker tournaments, including the $1,700 no-limit Hold'em Mystery Bounty Main Event with a $300,000 guaranteed prize pool. Head to BestBetJacks.com for the full schedule and information. That's BestBetJacks.com.
Hi, Flying Jacko here, sports fans. Boy, is it hot. It's hot for the girls, too. And when I'm feeling the heat, I head for Woody's and pick up a good old-fashioned family feast.
At Woody's Barbecue, it's what we do.
Let's eat. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Hey, we're glad you're with us. Frangie, Hayes Carline, R.J. Saunders with you right now. Lauren's got the rest of the hour off to get ready for helmets and heels. All right, we've been out at Jaguars practice. Many of the media have. By the way, did you hear Smitter's Times Union count today?
No.
Did you hear the Times Union count? He said, I didn't realize this today. He said there's 10 people out, 10 members of the media today, either current or former Times Union sports writers. 10.
Unbelievable.
Do you realize it was 10? So it was. So we counted them. I'm going to miss some of them, but the former, me, you, Matt Hayes, Prisco was there, John Ozier,
correct,
Justin Barney. So that's 6 former.
D-Rock.
7 former. I forgot D-Rock. So 7 former and 4 current. Frenny, Smitter, Demetrius, and Justin.
Yeah.
So 11.
11.
Forgot it. 11 either former or current Florida Times Union sports writers were at that practice today.
Let's build an offense with those 11.
But I mean, isn't that something?
It's
that's
amazing.
And that's how the business has changed.
Right.
That a lot of people that there's 7 that started there that are no longer there, and really you can almost say a lot that aren't as much in the writing business. Pete doesn't write much anymore. He writes some, and mostly what he does is video, and certainly you and I write. You write a little, but mostly what we do is electronic.
Correct.
But 11 members of the one-time members of the Florida Times Union staff, either current or past.
It's amazing. I mean, again, I grew up reading the Times Union as a kid.
Same.
It was amazing. I mean, all the talent and writers that were there, and so it's always been a great paper that's produced, a lot of really talented people.
Yeah, the staff before when I was a young high school writer, I remember the guys ahead of me were, Jeff Miller and Jeff Rood and Pat Dooley and David Lamb. I mean, it was an incredible staff. We're out there a lot. We see young players. Part of our job, I don't want to sound arrogant because I respect every fan's opinion. But part of our job is to make sure we temper our excitement about stuff that a fan sees or we even see and we get excited about early on.
It's called the Cappy rule.
Yeah. Good, very good point. Cappy, number 66 in your program, One in Your Heart, had all those sacks in the preseason. We kind of knew that probably wasn't headed there. So very well said. But I've now watched this guy, Garrett Prince, enough that I do think there's something there. He's the 4th tight end in the tight end room. But I think he's going to be in the tight end room, and enough people are talking about him now. Josh Allen today, Evan Ingram the other day. Hayes, I do think there's something there with this guy, Garrett Prince, the tight end. I really do.
I think there is as well. I'm curious to see how much reps he gets in the preseason. I think they're going to have to play him a lot because obviously you don't want Ingram getting a lot of work. Strange and Farrell you can play. Strange needs it because he's a rookie. But do you get any sense that they're trying to hide him? Like I will say, I don't think you're going to see Garrett Prince out there in the 4th quarter of any preseason game.
Right.
I mean, I do think he's solidly the 4th tight end. I mean, Reyes looks phenomenal from a physical standpoint. I mean, he looks like he could step into AEW, WWE tomorrow and compete for a title. You've got Josh Peterson, Doug's kid, 0049, the spy,
right?
Who has done some good things,
right?
But I think Garrett Prince is going to be really tough for Reyes or Peterson to catch. So I mean, again, it speaks to and they've done some nice things. So again, this to me is a position that looked like a concern maybe a month ago, and certainly looked like a concern maybe after the season ended because you didn't know what Ingram's status would be, and they had yet to invest a 2nd-round pick in Brenton Strange. But I think you look at that group now, and it's a good group. I mean, if Reyes, Peterson, I mean, if they had to play, I think they could get the job done. But to your point, Garrett Prince may be he may be a gem. I mean, he may be somebody who in a year or two is in a massive role on this team.
Yeah, only 1 year of experience. He's only 25. He came from UAB. He was signed a year ago as an undrafted guy, but he's 6'5", 240. He's today's tight end.
Big time speed.
And he can run. That's the thing is when you get one of those tight ends in today's football that can get down the field and cause matchup problems, we say it all the time, too big for the safety and too fast for the linebacker. Evan Ingram's the ultimate guy like that. He's a pretty good player. He's a pretty good player. I think you're right. I think the tight end room's pretty set. By the way, they have a lot of rooms that are set now, But, I mean, obviously, Britton Strange, the rookie's going to be their inline tight end. Evan Ingram's their star tight end who's going to be in the slot most of the time. Luke Farrell's a guy they like. He's a big physical blocker. So in two tight end sense, you got that. And I think Prince is your fourth guy. But I think he's got a chance to be a good young player.
I think so, too. And, again, he's being a restricted, an undrafted free agent. The Jaguars are really going to have a lot of time to continue to develop him. Those guys don't see free agency for a while.
Is he Dan Arnold but better? Is he Dan Arnold but younger?
Yes,
he's like that, right?
He's not as big, I would say. I mean, I haven't interviewed Garrett Prince yet, so I haven't really stood next to him.
He's 6'5", 241 is how he's listed. He's almost 6'5", I can tell you that.
Okay, he doesn't seem to be as stout as Dan Arnold, but that's fine. I mean, but I think, I mean, I would think that's a realistic goal for Garrett Prince in his career. I mean, Dan Arnold, I think, got signed this offseason. I think it took a while, but I think he's on a roster now. But I would say that Garrett Prince has absolutely a chance to have that kind of a career.
The other guy, and this is not a surprise, this guy was not undrafted. In fact, many believe he was drafted way too low, that they were surprised he was still there. But I will tell you, and people said it was going to happen, I'm impressed with Antonio Johnson. He's a good player. He makes plays. He intercepts passes almost every camp, practice. He's a safety. Now, he plays behind some pretty good safeties right now. The safety room's pretty good. We said this the other day. Rayshon Jenkins and Andre Sisco, the starters. Dewey's the third guy. Daniel Thomas is a very good core four special teams guy. And Antonio Johnson's probably the fifth guy. They're all making the team. So those five are all going to be on it. But he's pretty good, Hayes. I mean, not just people talking about it because he was at A&M and played in the SEC and was drafted lower, blah, blah, blah. I think he's a pretty good player.
Really looks like he belongs so far. And, yes, I do think that Antonio Johnson may have a bit of a red shirt this year if they stay healthy with Jenkins and Sisco. But he has really shown some things that he showed in college in terms of his ball hawking ability, and it's been great to see. Parker Washington's another one, a 6th-round pick.
Yeah,
that
looks the part.
I think he's going to be really good in time. Again, they don't need him to be really good yet, but I think in time, I think there is something there with Parker Washington as well. So you may be looking at, we talked about all the draft picks, and you drafted 13 guys. They're not all going to hit, but if 6 hit, you've had an outstanding draft.
Yeah.
And, we're early, but I think you feel pretty good about Harrison. I think you feel pretty good about Strange. Bigsby's the talk of the building.
And I thought he was before practice got here.
I mean, so
good player.
Really really promising early returns.
Yeah, I think
Tank Bigsby.
I think he's the backup running back.
I think so too.
I think
I think he's going to get carries.
Yeah, Jermichael Hasty is a guy that was very important to their team last year, and I'm glad they had him, and I'm glad he's still out there. And they went and got Ernest Johnson, who looked like a good player. I'd be surprised if Snoop Connor makes the team.
Yeah.
That's just me. And that's no knock on Snoop. I just think those other 4 are better. I don't think you keep 5. But, yeah, I think Tank Bigsby is going to be a big physical downhill runner. He's a good player. I mean, he's one of those guys that you go, oh, yeah, I forgot about him. I think he's a really good player.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got those 3 that led off your draft. Then you've got Antonio Johnson and Parker Washington in the later rounds. Well, that's 5 there that you feel pretty good about through 6 training camp practices. And obviously you still have a litany of other guys, that could do something for you, like Ventrell Miller, Yasir Abdullah, Tyler Lacey, Christian Braswell, who's had some nice PBUs. Eric Hallett made a nice play today. So, I mean, you're seeing some things, and man, if this draft class does produce those 5 or 6, strong contributors, I mean, this team is going to have quite a roster for a while because, again, all those players very cheap and here for 4 years.
I don't want to get ahead. I know we got hammer time coming up after the break, and I don't want to get ahead of what your hammer time is going to be. So I'm probably going to answer this without scooping yourself on that topic. But do you think this is their team? Do you think what you're seeing, barring injury, do you think what you're seeing out there at camp now is the team they're going to play with this year?
I do. I think they appear very confident that the guys that they're placing their trust in are going to deliver for them. So, look, Daniil Hunter signed with the Vikings, signed a new deal with Minnesota, his current team, just a few days ago. If the Jaguars were in hot pursuit of Hunter, it would have come out by now. So they weren't.
Right.
So yeah, I think Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke really like their 90-man roster right now.
I get the same impression. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Hayes has got a hammer time. It's going to be Jaguars related. We'll do that, and then we'll say hello to the ladies from Helmets and Heels. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The NFL Hall of Fame game will happen on Thursday night in Canton, Ohio. The New York Jets take on the Cleveland Browns. Jets acquired Aaron Rodgers in a trade with the Green Bay Packers this offseason. Rodgers will not play in the contest. Backup Zach Wilson will be the starting quarterback. The Jets are a 1.5 favorite, minus 125 on the money line. The Browns are plus 105. The over-under is 33.5. On Saturday in Canton, 9 new members will be inducted into the Hall of Fame, including Browns offensive lineman Joe Thomas and Jets corner Darrelle Revis. This update brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010XL.
Hun, the drain really smells.
Yeah, wow, it does.
I think it's getting backed up. What should we do? Did you just quack like a duck?
Yes, I did. Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. Need help with a plumbing issue at your home or business? Just call the Duck.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Josh Woolsey with Woolsey Morecambe. When deciding what lawyer to trust with your car accident or injury case, the most reliable way is reviews and results. You want to be treated well, and you want a great result. Woolsey Morecambe's reviews are through the roof, and I challenge any law firm to compare results. Clients continue switching to us from other firms because we continue delivering. Recently, a car accident client left a big firm, and Woolsey Morecambe got her 10 times what they said it was worth. If you want to be treated right and want great results, call Woolsey Morecambe, 638-4235.
When it's the hottest day of the summer. But it's the hottest day of the summer. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
We sure taking a liking to that radio.
You can't listen all day, every day, but you can catch what you missed on demand.
Go on demand at 1010XL.com.
You have the power to listen when you like. On demand. Brought to you by Underdog Fantasy.
This is Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. Does your knee pain keep getting worse? How about that pain in your shoulder, hip, or back? Don't let them tell you steroids and surgery are your only options. Take my advice and call QC Kinetics now. You can turn back the clock by calling QC Kinetics at 904-274-5522. Set up a free consultation at their Mandarin or Ponte Vedra offices. QC Kinetics takes your own body's healing agents and concentrates them in the area where you have pain. You can repair and restore damaged tissue naturally through regenerative medicine. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting medical breakthrough, and patients here are getting real, lasting relief and are saying no to surgery and drugs. If you have pain due to injury or arthritis, this is a remarkable option that you need to check out. Call QC Kinetics now to get a free consultation at their Mandarin or Ponte Vedra offices. Call 904-274-5522.
At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Sports injuries are a common issue for both adults and children. Dr. George Barry here, and as a specialist in orthopedic care, the team at Barry Orthopedics and Sports Medicine here in Jacksonville provides comprehensive diagnosis and treatment of all types of sports injuries. With additional training in sports medicine and more than 30 years of experience, the team is available to care for your entire family and help you have fun and stay active. Visit us today at BarryOrthopedics.com.
And don't forget to check out Breaking Bones Sunday morning, 7:30 on 1010XL.
It's winning time for your Jacksonville Sharks, and they need you to fill the tank. The Sharks are back home for the playoffs this Saturday, August 5th, kickoff, 7 o'clock. No one better to take it out on than your bitter, hated rivals, the Orlando Predators. Winner, off to the championship game where we're going to hang a banner. Family, affordable fun. Tickets start at just $15. Available now. Call 904-621-0700. Or for more info, go to jacksharks.com.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
The house is taking a beating this summer with all the in and out. Time to call Zero Res. Right now, Zero Res offering the hottest price of the year on tile and grout cleaning. Get your tile and grout cleaned and sealed for 25% off. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars linebacker Josh Allen met the media after practice this morning and was asked about his expectations this season for Trayvon Walker.
You know, my expectations for Trayvon is to dominate. It's not up to me of how I expect him to be. It's what he expects from himself. And the conversations that we do have is he expects him to be Trayvon Walker. And so whatever he tells me, that's my expectation for him, and I'm going to hold him to that just like he does with me. So I expect him to dominate and to really show up and show out from beginning to the end.
Jaguars linebacker Josh Allen this morning, courtesy of Jaguars.com. Jags back on the practice field tomorrow morning at 8:50. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Hey, we're glad you're with us. One segment to go in the program before we turn it over to the ladies from Helmets and Heels. You know, it's been a while. I think right about now I need to hear from Hayes the Hammer.
Now, Hammer Time with Hayes. Brought to you by Golden Hammer Roofing and Gutters. The golden standard in roofing.
So I finally have seen the Jaguars in pads, and it's just one day, but my patience is wearing thin. And I do not want to see a Super Bowl potential year go by the wayside because the pass rush was not adequately addressed. And I've seen Josh Allen and I've seen Trayvon Walker, and I think they're going to be fine, but I don't see much beyond them. It's time for the Jaguars to sign Yannick Ngakoue. Trading for Danielle Hunter would have been great from Minnesota. That's off the table. He's done a deal with the Vikings. He's not going anywhere. Yannick Ngakoue is 28 years old and in 110 games in this league has 65 sacks and 21 forced fumbles, and he's available in August and you're not signing him. What are you doing? You don't know what Trayvon Walker is going to give you. You don't know what Josh Allen is really going to give you in terms of being a double-digit sack guy, and you've got nothing behind them at all. DeJuan Smoot is not going to be available for a long time. Kayvon Chason has been a non-factor the whole time he's been here. Yannick Ngakoue is perfect for what this team needs. He is a closer. He is somebody that you put in the game in obvious passing situations, and he goes and gets the quarterback, and he gets the ball off the quarterback. Doug Peterson has talked about the locker room and how they can absorb strong personalities, which, yes, he has. But they owe it to themselves and this fan base to make whatever move necessary to go win the Lombardi Trophy, and they don't have enough right now that's going to adequately affect Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen in the tournament, and that's before you even get to whoever comes out of the NFC. The Jaguars need to swallow their pride on this one before some other club signs him and get the deal done with Yannick Ngakoue. They have the cap space. Get it done and get him in here and get the 11 sacks he would provide.
Comments from my friend Hayes Carline, that is hammer time. Interesting take. I don't know if I think they're going to do it or not. I think if they were going to bring in Yannick Ngakoue, they would have done it by now. I don't think they're going to reevaluate their team without hitting. The most puzzling thing to me about Ngakoue, and this isn't just a Jaguars thing, Hayes, I really do wonder, why is he still out there? I can't believe he's still – when Frank Clark and Leonard Floyd both got in the $7 million a year range, that's it. That is now set – that's set the market. Once the market has been set, no matter how confident you are, arrogant you are, self-believing you are, you can't possibly now believe you're still going to get $12 million. It's not about, again, your value is what the market will bear. I tell people that all the time. It's not what you think it is. It's not what somebody else thinks that it is. It's what the market will bear. He can't. I know he's younger than those guys, and that may be the card they're playing. Then he said, who did he hire? Rosenhaus? Howard Rosenhaus, right? But I can't believe at this point he's now had to figure out that he's going to get $5 or $6 million tops. He has to now know that. So if you know that, are none of the 32 willing to give him 5 or 6? Or is he now he's got to know the number now. He can't not know the number now. So if the number's 5 or 6 or thereabouts, because he's not as good a player as Leonard Floyd, he's not as complete. So if you know the number now, are you just standing your ground and enjoying a few more weeks without camp, and you're gonna take one of those $5 or $6 million offers in middle of August? Or are you really not getting any of those? It's one of the two.
Yeah, it's a great point. My guess is he's waiting to see, is there an injury that occurs in one of these camps to a starting edge player that drives up his price, that
from a team that thinks they're going to win.
From a team that thinks they're going to win, which, this time of year is
right.
25 of them.
That's right.
So, if one of those 25 has a starter go down, the price tag probably goes up because the desperation goes up. I just think the Jaguars should jump ahead of that because that injury is going to happen and Ngakoue is going to get signed. I just don't think there's any chance you could play through the opener and then sign Ngakoue and not have to worry about paying him his full contract if you decided to release him later. First off, I don't think they're going to decide to release him later. I think again, this guy gets a sack every basically game in a 30 plays. He's played in 110 games in his career and has 65 sacks and 21 forced fumbles.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the guy. You may not like his personality, you may not like how he plays the run, and that's fine. Then don't line him up in those situations. But he is ideal. You've got to sell Yannick Ngakoue on the vision of, yes, you're probably not going to play as much here as you might play somewhere else or what you're accustomed to playing. But you can be so impactful on the 40% of the snaps that you're going to get week in and week out that you can turn this into a massive payday. He doesn't turn 29 until March. So this is year 28. It's not like he turns 29 in 3 weeks. He is a 28-year-old this entire season and still should have lots of football left. But you need to go make this deal now. You don't want to see another team come in, sign Yannick Ngakoue. He goes and gets his customary 9 to 11 sacks with his customary 3 or 4 forced fumbles and sit there and say, why didn't we do that? Why did we put our faith in Caleb Chase on to deliver? I just think at this point, you're so close. Why would you not make this investment? You've got the cap space. What is stopping you?
All right, so we'll talk more Jaguars as the days go on. More camp tomorrow. Doug Peterson speaks tomorrow, by the way. He speaks about every third or fourth day, so he'll speak tomorrow. And then another padded practice tomorrow and another hot practice tomorrow. So
yeah.
It's been kind of warm, so look forward to seeing that coming up in just a bit. By the way, we are 14 minutes now before the trade deadline. There's been an awful lot of activity. The one team that has not been super active that I thought might be is the Atlanta Braves. They got Brad Hand, a left-handed reliever, who I don't even think will be their closer, who'll be their left-handed specialist. I could go through all the deals in the last day and a half. You know most of them by now. I won't recap.
Did the Orioles do much?
The Orioles did not. They got a mid-level pitcher that's okay, but they were not. But I didn't expect them to be as active. They don't have the money. They got to protect that farm system that they've worked so hard to develop. But I'm a little surprised now. The Cardinals apparently are going to move Jack Flaherty, who's a really good starting pitcher who's still relatively young and who could be a really good pitcher. The Cardinals are apparently trying to move him. And they may send him with Tyler O'Neill, who's a power-hitting outfielder. And the two teams I saw listed are the Dodgers and the Braves. So Flaherty's one guy that could wind up with the Braves. I think one more good starting arm is what the Braves do. The Braves are really good. But I think one more good starting arm is the missing piece. But I'm surprised they haven't done a little bit more.
Yeah, I am as well because they've been so brilliant at working the deadline. I mean, the trades they made the World Series year were, extraordinary. And so, we'll see. Obviously, again, if you're Atlanta, you're not so worried about the division, but more, winning the whole thing. And so it is interesting. Were you surprised that the AL? We talked about how busy the AL West was. The AL East, obviously,
quiet,
kind of status quo.
Yeah, I think the Rays tried to do a few things. I think the Rays, to their credit, at least if the reports were correct, you saw them connected with Lance Lynn and another. They got a guy. They got the guy Savali, I think it is from Cleveland. But I think they were trying to be active. Here's the thing: the Blue Jays are kind of in no man's land. And the Red Sox and the Yankees, believe it or not, despite both being well over 500, are at the bottom of the division. So the two teams at the top are teams, the Orioles and the Rays, that don't have a lot of money and have to be a little bit careful. And you don't want, and even though they've got a lot of prospects, I thought the Rays might go all in because there is talk that Stuart Sternberg's going to sell that team, that they don't have a title, that if you have to blow it up, if you have to blow up this core, if Lau and Arozarena and some of the really good players, Yandy Diaz, all of a sudden you look up and they're gone. Well, if that happens, I don't know that you're going to replace them as easily. Obviously, Wander Franco's not going anywhere. And obviously, McClanahan's not going anywhere. But the rest of that core could get blown up. And if it does, man, if you're a Rays fan, you hope you win one before that. You've knocked on the door so much. But like you said, I'm not even sure they could get to the World Series. But they don't look like, even though they've played better of late, they don't look like a World Series team, so we'll see what they wind up doing.
Did you guys end up trading your closer?
Did not trade Bednar or Keller. And, there's 11 minutes left.
Right.
But I think they traded the Pirates just traded the veteran guys. Rich Hill, the catcher, Hedges. They've traded guys, older guys that were never going to factor very much, which is kind of what you expected they would do. The 43-year-old left-handed pitcher and the two veteran guys who they wound up trading. So I'd be a little bit surprised if look, for better or worse, they think they're going to win next year. They think they will enter the season as a playoff contender, which they haven't done since 2016. That's the last time they entered a season as a playoff contender.
Well, what the Orioles are doing has to really inspire them, right?
Isn't
that kind of the path?
They're very similar. The Orioles did what the Rays did, and what the A's did it too. They just blew it up. The Orioles did what the A's and the Rays did, and the Pirates are kind of doing what the Orioles are doing. Now, you got to have people that are as good at evaluating as all those. Part of it is you got to be good at evaluating. If you're not good at evaluating, all that other stuff doesn't matter. But if you're good at you can say, all right, we're going to spend all our money in the draft. We're going to spend all our money in the draft pool. We're going to spend all our money in the international pool. We're going to build with young players and acquire draft pick after draft pick and young player after young player. That's the right model. But you still have to be able to evaluate the right ones. Paul Skeens was easy. Everybody knew him. But are you good enough? Are you good enough at evaluating to evaluate the right young guys? And I think that's kind of that's what they're hoping they find out. So we'll see. In the meantime, let's say hello to my friend Taylor Dahl.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Keeping the sports world spinning with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
So the Cubs stood pat on their guys.
They did. They heard our segment the other day,
Yes,
Frank.
they did. And they listened to us.
They did.
But they did not move Bellinger.
They did not.
They did not move Stroman.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some mid-level movement, but nothing that would affect
nothing
them.
major. They picked up the guy from the Nationals. I don't know how to.
Third baseman.
Yes, the third baseman from the Nationals, which is probably one of the positions we do need. Outfield's pretty set. Our inside with Dansby and Nico's pretty set. So that third base has been kind of switched around a lot this season between Mancini and Madrigal, and it just wasn't working. So they made a leap there. I don't know a ton about him from the rankings I've seen. He was like 5th, 6th best available around this time. So we'll see. But I'm just excited because I was kind of going back and forth with JJ earlier, and we had this discussion last week when I hopped on and I guess it was last week when we were talking about this of, do you get upset when your team does just do fire sales? And I made a comment to JJ. I was like, we're not selling. And he was like, well, that's dumb. And I was like, I don't think so. Like,
I don't either.
The Cubs went 108 years without winning a World Series. So I'm sorry if my expectations are not the World Series every year. I just want to make the postseason and be competitive and fun.
I agree with you. I would not. Unless you're just awful. I mean, the Cubs are 53 and 53.
Yeah. Shame
on a 53 and 53 team that sells.
Yeah.
Shame
I agree.
I would not have.
With a plus 50-something point differential. They're scoring a ton.
Yeah.
If you can make a couple moves and in your bullpen and save the other team from scoring 10 on you, that would help.
By the way, have you ever seen the Cardinals sell like this? They're selling like crazy.
It's so fun.
Yeah. There is an enjoyment to it. I've never seen them sell.
It's wild.
Yeah, because I don't think they've got a great farm.
Yeah.
Which is why they've got to sell, which means I'm not sure they're going to be that much better. When they lost Yachty was their leader. He was their clubhouse guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
It hit them.
Oh, here we go. So
Yachty punished us constantly.
So the Orioles are getting Flaherty. See,
Oh,
Flaherty
wow.
is the best guy left. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
we just talked about that. I just read that Flaherty was probably going to either the Braves or the Dodgers. Give the Orioles credit.
The Orioles are looking
They have a
good.
but they hadn't made a big move. That's a big move for them. Getting Flaherty is a big move for them. He's legit now. So
it's been fabulous for me because both the Cardinals and the White Sox, who were expected to win their divisions pretty easily in the beginning of the season, both have been bad and both are selling right now. And we're just like happy over here, like we're good. We're at 500.
You've been grinning for 2 weeks, haven't you? All right, what's coming up tonight?
We're going to get into camp, obviously. I don't get to go because I'm in this building holding
You're
everything
working.
else down.
You're working while the rest of us are playing.
She can do, I'm not kidding you, everything in this building.
Yeah.
Everything.
I got a goal, though. Got to hit my goals. To see her in a bad mood. I'm
That's a
not
good
even
point.
trying to create it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to create a bad mood. I mean, it doesn't. She's
It's
never
happened a
Have
couple
you ever
times,
been in a
though.
bad mood in your life?
Yes, and it's happened like twice here I can name. The one time when I had to wear the Aaron Rodgers jersey, and I didn't realize how bad of a mood I was in, but Jeff Prosser was like, "You are cranky. Like, I have never seen you so mad in my entire life."
Okay, so we're in an Aaron. Okay.
Yeah, that one, and then when Cody Parkey double doinked. At the time, I was doing sports updates on the drill, and I came in, and Beef just kept playing the Spanish play-by-play over and over. And I'm so sad. Also hungover, probably. So
and it was the
just
Spanish.
yeah. I was so angry, and that was probably the two moments where I can remember being very.
That's my goal in the world. It's just to try and find a bad mood for Taylor. All right, so it's camp today.
Yes, a lot of camp.
And the
we
deadline
have
too.
yes,
all that, right?
yes, and we also have Becky Burley coming on tonight. She obviously former Florida Gator soccer coach. She is going to be the coach for the Jacks USL team, but we're going with the women's national team. I'm not the biggest soccer fan, so I've been trying to follow along and understand a little bit more. I'm not watching the game at 3 a.m. Sorry, that's not going to happen for me personally. But obviously, me and Lauren are big soccer fans, so we're going to have her on and talk about kind of the disappointment almost of like what's been surrounding
and the
that
story
team.
we've been talking about on our show, Taylor. The way Carly Lloyd, the former player, just ripped the team on TV.
Yes.
I was astounded by it. So, all right, that's all coming up tonight. Thanks,
Yes,
Taylor.
thank you.
Taylor, Mia, and Lauren, they've got Helmets and Heels. That comes up right now. Folks, that'll do it for our program. Don't go anywhere, though. The ladies are next. We're out of here. Tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, live from Island Wing Company.
That's right, Southside.
The Southside location. So come out and see us. We'd love to see you. We're out of here. For Hayes, for Lauren, for RJ, I'm Frank Frangie. Don't go anywhere. Helmets and Heels is next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.